biggest Whitley's Guide IAE special yet, with exclusive looks at all your favorite manufacturers. Drake CEO and an Arden. Plus, surprises and announcements you won't want to miss. We'll see you there.
Liberty, ingenuity, equality. These ideals connect. Liberty, ingenuity, equality. These ideals connect each and every one of us across this vast empire of stars. As such, I want you all to meet the 2952 Cutter from Drake Interplanetary. Oh yeah. This ship embodies those ideals that we are truly democratizing spaceflight.
Who needs to hire talent when the aerospace CEOs are dying to get on camera? Hey, Jimmy?
It's all about the hard-working people of the UEE. That's why we're excited to sponsor the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo 2952. See you in Stanton.
What in the unholy hell? They think I'm dead? Unbelievable! Bob! I cannot believe that they moved on without me. After everything I did for them. Would a call have killed them? Oh, hey, Jax, do you want to come back, host the show? I'm sorry, Jax can't take your call because he's dead. Bob! Bob, now, I need to take the Corsair.
Good one.
Now, I came out here to get inspired, and I've just been hanging around, tending to my garden, and pillaging and plundering with you lot.
Are you talking to me?
You don't understand, Bob. My bosses have killed me off screen. I've got to get back to Stanton. Is this ship flight ready?
Whoa! Whoa, Jax! But you can't have my ship.
Oh, come on, Bob, you owe me. You stole my Odyssey right when I got to Pyro.
But you stole it back.
And crashed it.
And crashed it.
Well, fair point. Did the boys already chop that new Drake cutter?
No, I told you I'm keeping that one. I kind of like it. Handle's nice.
Bob, please.
No.
But it's just sitting there.
You know what, Jax? Fine. If it'll keep you out of trouble for a while, you can borrow the cutter.
Thank you, Bob.
I said borrow.
Thanks, Bob.
Jax!
Bye.
Don't fly angry!
Right. Are we on? Okay, right. Jax McCleary here. Obviously, I'm not dead. Just thought you should know. Looks like we're going back to Stanton. Here we go! Okay. Throttle's over here. Interesting. That does make a little bit more sense. Okay. Here we go.
Also, to note, today the IAE is active, so you can go into the game and go to microTech and automatically just go down to the planet and pretty much go to the Hull Expo, and you'll be able to rent any of the ships until the 30th or so, between now and then, and all the other ships that are going to come in between. Now, also, let's see. we have a couple of videos to watch. They came out with the ship talk, and then the super ship talk. So let's watch that.
So we're on the show floor. Very exciting.
Says everything's good? You sounded really... Hold on.
Isn't that white light supposed to be
It's
red?
all right. Let it keep going.
I'm pretty sure that white light should be red.
I'm just going to double check.
On the big one.
Get an hour in. It's like, no, we didn't.
Keep it recording.
On the big
recording.
camera, the one that's higher.
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
You know
up there?
Yeah. Because all the others are red.
Yeah. Okay.
I like
Like it's like a red field. You're not allowed this side of the.
air shield.
Yeah. Oh, no.
All right. So Tom, we're not going to do a formal intro of this. We're going to do kind of a cold open kind of thing. So we just start with cutting, and then I'll do the intro after we're done with like the first talking point.
So,
to make
how do we defeat Superman?
How do we kill Superman?
Yeah.
Must kill Superman.
I can't. The cradle. I can't always.
Isn't it that? You do that. You're like talking like
All right.
that. And then
Show me the 4 shots real quick.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like we should just have that.
All right. I just want to make sure the Chiron was on all 3.
That's a really good
All
point.
right. Can we swap?
I like to be able to see my face.
Let's not start on the wide, at least for this. All right. So, what does make a good spaceship? Just in general, what makes a good spaceship?
Unequivocally, the interior layout of the ship. Straight up, it is. It's the interior layout.
Hang on though. Does that just discount single seat ships? Are they just not good spaceships?
Well, they're fighters.
They're terrible.
They're
They've
smaller.
got a great layout. It's
There's
just
less to think about.
Fighters are still spaceships, though.
They're not
think-
important. It's the big things.
I think
it's
the
big
question
ships
the
that
question
you can
should be
live out
like
of.
the question should be the what's the best spaceship for what you want to do? That's the better question.
Well, we'll get to that question. Geez, we just got
You want-
started here.
okay.
But in general, what makes a good spaceship? So we have the internal layout. You got to be able to
Absolutely.
You got to be able to find your way through it.
It has to make sense. Everything has to feel like it's in the right place without being spaghetti
It's got
junction.
to be believable. I think that's the thing that sums up for me is that kind of covers like the layout, the functionality, the visuals, believability. Like when it comes to
Could exist.
yeah, could exist. Things feel like they're in the right place.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
The Starfarer, basically. You're just describing the star.
Perfectly.
everyone, I still struggle to find my way around that ship. I'm the one that looks after it, and I still, to this day, cannot get to the crew deck without spending like 5 minutes going around the wrong way.
So you're the one to blame. Press
No
F3.
clip. Yeah, there's no clip straight up to it. It's pretty much random doom most of the time.
Yeah.
I hate it. I hate trying to get up there.
We've got interior layout. What else makes a good spaceship?
Gotta look good.
Got to look
Yeah.
good.
It doesn't have to, looking good's relative though, because it's different people's opinion.
Subjective.
Argo is by far the best looking manufacturer. I love that big bright
That's a
orange.
hot take. Argo,
It's just like the
best-looking
colour.
manufacturer. I don't know.
Yeah,
Well, that's
hot take,
design
hot colour.
language. That's like solid design language right there.
Yeah.
You know what you're looking at with an Argo ship.
I think it
You're
communicates
sitting
its
here
intent.
wearing orange
Yeah.
right now.
He's repping Argo orange.
Yeah.
I feel like you're a ringer here for Argo. Okay, all right. So it's got to look good, but can a good spaceship look bad? I mean, can a good-looking spaceship be a bad-looking spaceship?
It can be like ugly in a sense, right?
Like Nostromo is not
yeah.
a great-looking,
Well, it's like brutal.
aesthetically
It's
it's
brutal industrial, right? And that, I think that can be iconic.
Again-
That can look good, right?
I think
in
it's
a
led by
certain
its
way.
function, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
if you've got something that is, a big workhorse, an Argo ship, you don't expect it to be like super sleek and organic. Whereas if you've got something that's, a fighter or something that's, like a racing ship or something, you want it to look sleek and feel
So believable.
Do you
So
feel like
it
you
has to
want
be
the ship to
believable.
have a character, like an identity that's very obvious when you look at it?
I feel when it comes to our project, it's really important that our manufacturers don't merge into to one.
So the
And
manufacturers
our
have the
manufacturers have
identity.
their identity.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then within that, you've got like a subclass of like what the functionality is. Like if we were doing an industrial ship that was made by Origin, you wouldn't expect it to be like an 890 with a laser beam on the front of it.
Yeah.
You'd want it to still feel.
But you would
890 with a freaking laser beam
Frickin'
on the
laser
forehead.
beam. I mean, 890 should have sharks. So.
But you would immediately want to recognise its origin still.
Yes.
It's fine for it to be industrial, civilian, combat, all having a very obvious direction that the visuals go, but at the same time, you still want all of the manufacturers to immediately be recognizable from each other.
So internal layout, you got to be able to find your way throughout the ship. You can get to where you're going efficiently. It's got to look cool, not necessarily look pretty, but look like stylish, iconic. It's you got to something that immediately resonates with you. Anything else? Looks, getting around inside. What about performance? Does this matter? Does it?
It doesn't matter to everyone.
Dave Coulson, does the performance of the spaceship matter?
I mean, yeah, obviously. But it's also like, it doesn't matter to everyone. Because there's a certain place in my heart for like the 890 where I just like the image of like living this luxury lifestyle.
But
I don't care what its performance is.
That delivers what it laid out to deliver. Like its sole purpose is to be a luxury ship.
That's true.
And it performs very well at being a luxury ship.
Yeah.
So I think, like it kind of goes without saying.
Performance means different things in that context, though, right?
Well, performance means different things based on what the ship we're talking about is. So, in terms of the 890, its performance, I suppose, is how luxurious it feels. While
handles like a boat.
It handles like a super yacht because it is a super yacht. Yeah. But what would you say quantifies the 890 as performing? And it's delivering the luxury experience. You're not talking about its combat capabilities when you're talking about performance, because it's not a combat ship. But if you're talking about the Gladius or the Hammerhead, you're talking about its combat capabilities and how well the Hammerhead its turrets can screen you from fighters, or the Gladius, how well it can do in 1v1 dogfight and combat. So like, the performance is based on what the goal is to achieve with the ship. So performance matters, but what performance matters depends on what the ship's for.
Right. It's like, you judge a ship based on what it's intended to do, as opposed to maybe what you want it to do.
Exactly.
Like we were just talking about this way out. Like there's that movie A Knight's Tale. Remember that one with Heath Ledger and everything?
Yeah.
It's not the best movie ever made, but it's perfect at doing what it set out to do. Like for when you consider all that it's supposed to be in its place, like it is a flawless movie from beginning to end. Shout out to Heath. All right. So welcome everybody. Don't know. I'm really good at this. Welcome everybody to Star Citizen Live, the IAE 2952 Super Talk Spectacular. I didn't name it before we decided to film. I'm your host, Jared Huckabee, and if you've never seen a Star Citizen Live before, it's where we take about an hour, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less, out at the end of our week, and we discuss some aspect of Star Citizen's continuing development. On the show this week, to celebrate this year's Intergalactic Aerospace Expo 2952, we have got 6 esteemed members from our vehicle teams. We've got Vehicle Director, Mr. John Crew.
Hello.
We've got Dave Coulson. I don't even know what your title is these days. Senior programmer, Hoosie Futzel.
Vehicle programmer.
Vehicle programmer from the content from the feature and experience teams. Corey from the ship content team, helping to build out the art. Ben, art director from the content team. Mark, design, and Henry. I was doing so good. I got to you.
Last hurdle, Jared. Last hurdle.
Henry, this is your first time appearing on camera for anybody in Star Citizen. What do you do?
I'm Henry. I'm a vehicle artist. Yeah.
Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Henry was kind enough to be a last-minute replacement to fill in. So literally, thank you for. We literally grabbed you about 5 minutes before we started filming and just pulled him in. He's like, okay, yeah, I'll be on the film. So we are in the IAE. Just technically launched today, this is going on in the microTech Convention Center. It's your chance to explore almost every single ship and vehicle that Star Citizen has to offer. On Inside Star Citizen yesterday, we talked a bit about the 600i rework and a bit about who Drake is, and introduced the brand new Drake Cutter. Next week on ISC, we'll be talking about even more spacecraft, some that you know about, like the Polaris and the concept rework for the interior that's going on, and then ships that you're not supposed to know about, but maybe if you went to Reddit, you already do. But we're not going to spoil that here for those who are staying pristine. So on our Inside Star Citizens will be where we'll talk about all the new ships and give all the information and stuff like this. Today, here on the show today, we want to talk more about the process of making ships. What makes a ship good which we just talked about, how we go about making them, the considerations that go into that, and just overall a bit about the process. The Star Citizen project has grown by leaps and bounds over the last several years. We used to do a show called Ship Shape, where we, educated about the entire pipeline and how ships move through it. We haven't done that in a while, but since those days, we have gained a whole lot of people. So for some of our long-time viewers, some of this might seem repetitive, some of this might seem like stuff you already know, but we got a lot of new folks, and maybe, as all things, the only constant is change. Maybe the pipeline's changed a bit, the process has changed a bit, so we'll see if we can't educate a bit. I see Corey now, he's like, yeah, the pipeline's changed. The pipeline's changed quite a bit. So let's start there. Let's start there with the pipeline. So every spaceship that gets made for Star Citizen goes through this thing that we call the ship pipeline. It's got many subsections, but overall, the last I looked, please correct me if I'm wrong, there were basically 6 major kind of sections. There was the initial design and then concept, and then white box, then gray box, then
some other stuff.
Some other stuff.
New stuff
Let's
now.
talk about
Just finish it.
Let's go to John Crew. Why am I doing this? John, talk us through the pipeline. What's the at the high level? What does every ship do?
You mentioned things changing, and it is changing, and it's the perfect group of people because Mark and Corey have literally the last month or so been working on updates for it.
Okay.
So completely unprompted, I'll throw it over to you two to see if it's your baby that you've been.
Top tier.
Go on, Corey.
Good start so far.
I mean, really, like the biggest changes are sort of more of a focus on an actual planning phase between sort of pre-production and production. So we've actually sort of defined like planning as an individual thing, right? So we have to go away and estimate it. We've been looking at how we estimate how long it takes to do this stuff, like actually getting the team more involved. Like we're basically grabbing everyone, doing planning poker, which is kind of fun and a weird thing, but it works surprisingly well. Like we've rolled out a couple of new.
What is planning poker?
I should have brought the cards.
You should have brought the cards. It's
We could do some Star Citizen planning poker cards.
That'd be pretty great.
It sounds like some pretty good merch right there. Yeah.
Like I did. I used to manage a prop team, and I've recently sort of transitioned over the ship, so that's why I'm here with these people now.
Should do some planning poker role play here.
Do it live, yeah. So basically, I mean, it's probably not the most legit. I'm sure there are agile development experts out there who would shake their heads at how I do.
You're about to get shouted at, Corey.
Yeah. Basically, you have a stack of cards. It's got numbers on it that represent values. I tend to just do it in days because art tasks is pretty easy to break down in days. But if you're doing more nebulous things, you can use a point system. It's kind of weird. I don't really like that. I like dates as a measurement. I mean, do you guys use story points?
We use points, yeah. The only difference really is, as you said, art is pretty straightforward and easy to estimate how long something might take. But engineering tasks tend to have all of this R&D and experimentation work, and it's very hard to guess. But so we tend to quantify things in terms of the complexity rather than the time.
Yeah. It's like a consensus on how crazy what you're asking someone to do is, right? And it's not necessarily saying this is 6 months of crazy. It's saying this is 30 crazy, right?
30 points of crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Compared to other crazy things we've done,
yeah, exactly.
This one feels about the same sort of complexity as the other
So you could probably derive, an estimate from that, but it's
a bit different. Carry on though.
Anyway, so that's a bit of a tangent, but basically, so you have these cards, they've got values on them. Everyone has their cards face down, and you say, okay, so we're going to look at how long do you guys think it will take to do the white box pass for the exterior of the ship, for example, right? And everyone will have a little think, and then they'll get there, they'll select their card, and then, you say whatever, show your cards. Everyone presents their card, and you basically look and see if everyone's got a consensus on how long it's going to take, or if there's a massive deviance. And if there is, you say, Henry, you said it's going to take you 20 days to do this task, but John said it's going to take 10. Why is it going to take you twice as long? And then you might say, well, here's a bunch of things that John didn't think about. And then John might go,
Henry, you're slow.
Yeah. Or it might say, Henry, pull your finger out, mate. Come on. But basically, the point is that you've got the people working on a task and you're trying to reach a consensus. It does take a bit of time as well, which is a bit,
I think in the past, what we've tended to do is we've tended to do this on a ship scale. So we've basically looked at a ship as a whole and kind of gone, okay, well, we know another ship of roughly this size and this complexity with, it's a really well-known art style or it's a completely unknown art style. We've kind of broken it down that way. Whereas what this allows us to do is the team to kind of take on, have more input into that. And also because our complexity of our ships has grown so much over the years. It's no longer a case of like, oh, here's a small single seater, and all small single seaters take X amount of time, because some of them have one wing that you can just mirror around. Other ones have completely unique parts and completely unique functionality, and it just allows us to like get a better understanding of how long we think things are going to take, and because of that, hit our targets better.
Yeah, like we've already, like, compared to how we used to do it. It used to be at a high level, people would leads and directors would say it's roughly going to take this long as a best guess ballpark, but sometimes it's been so long since we've been actively doing some of the things that our estimates have fell short, or new tech's made it more complicated or easier, so we don't have as an accurate idea of it anymore compared to the people who are doing it day in, day out. Mm-hmm. So we've had a couple of ships go through this process now, and the estimates we've got from doing this have been almost to the day correct. And with some of them, we underestimated the whole scope and cut back what we were going to do because we knew it wouldn't fit because of the better estimates, and everything got as much attention as it deserved. And we now know we just need to go back and revisit something else later, but we also know how much time that's going to take, so we can plan for it better.
Yeah, we can adapt the scope of a project to the time we have, basically, because we have a better idea of how long each individual thing is going to take. So we can say, right, we've got 30 days, all this is going to take us 40 days. Ben, what are you willing to cut? And then Ben will say, well, this task is 10 days, so we'll cut that, and then, Yeah. So better planning.
But that's
one thing.
Okay. We can't skip your original question, Jared. Do you want the TLDR version?
Do the I'm just going to waffle, mate.
Let's do the TLDR.
Everything else. Okay, so TLDR is we start out, like John and his design team come up with the idea of we want a ship to do this role and deliver this, and then I think you normally send around like you pitch it to people, don't they?
Yeah. We have the very high level, like one sentence. I want a space food truck van. We use that as an example for this. And it has to be Drake. And it has to be Drake. Yep. And either I've come up with that, or I've got it from Chris or Todd or Tony or someone like that. I give that to a designer, and they flesh it out into the full brief. That goes back around all the design leads, because there's a lot of design teams, and they're all working on slightly different things. They all may have slightly different ideas compared to the designer who did that vehicle brief may not be aware of, say, what EEPU is going to be working on in 9 months' time, which may have an effect. So they all have their feedback. We update the brief, goes to Chris for the final sign-off, and then it goes into the concept phase, which is pretty much unchanged from...
Draw a nice picture.
Yeah.
First pass review, second pass.
You say that, but we spend a lot more time on the concept to make sure that everything is going to work now. So we do the interiors fully fleshed out to make sure that everything that's going to fit inside the ship actually fits inside the ship. And with the extra complexity we've now got, there's so much more to consider.
It would also be
phase.
Worth adding to this point. Obviously, I'm not the most knowledgeable about the concept pipeline, but I am aware that concept is literally not just drawing a picture. I know you mock up the geometry of a ship, the general shape and everything. So you have a reasonably clear idea of what it's going to look like.
It's much easier to make changes and to invest time when you're in concept than it is when you get into production, because in concept you've got one artist working on it, and it's fairly easy to kind of like course correct. Whereas by the time you're into production, you've got an art team invested in it, plus all the downstream teams and design and everything. It's a much slower,
more expensive.
And you've got to worry about performance and actually having it work and stuff. Whereas in concept, it's just it's a visual representation of it. So it doesn't matter if you look at the geometry and it's really jank, because we've got a whole team of production artists who basically convert a concept mesh into something that actually goes in a video game and runs, right? And
looks good.
And looks good.
So the concept's complete.
So concept's complete, go to white box, which is basically, those two things don't like finish concept, start white box next day. It's actually, I lied, sorry. Concept's complete. We then do proper planning.
Planning phase.
Okay, and then it gets scheduled. I'm still learning the new production, and then into white box, which is basically, we do a fairly quick breakdown of the ship and all the parts that need to be in it, and get it into engine as quickly as we can, just to allow us to run around it, make sure that what we think works visually actually works from a gameplay point of view, and make sure it flies. Make sure thrust is in the right position. Make sure, make sure.
The ever popular, when I open this door, does it actually stay within the ship?
Yeah, does it go outside the doors?
Well, we actually have that test just to drag the ship around to make sure everything stays attached.
Doors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, once at the end of each kind of phase, we have like a review process where we sit down with everyone and get everyone in a room, make sure we're all happy with it. But yeah, white boxes basically
make it work.
We don't. I'm gonna hate
It's
myself.
base
For this. We don't really
functionality.
care what it looks like at that point. It's about making sure that we know what we're doing and it's all going to work. And then into grey boxes where we do most of the modelling, most of the artwork.
We don't care about what it looks like aesthetically, but we care about what it looks like as a basic representation for every aspect of the
we need to
ship,
get proportions right and everything in white box.
Yeah.
And
Now, at some point, even in here, I know it's not art complete, but designers start working on flight characteristics.
Designers start day one.
Exactly. So while
Concept
white box
phase.
and gray box seems like it's just an art kind of thing, it's you designers and programmers and stuff are still in there, flying around this ugly white brick. That's going on, right?
Yeah. I feel like I've undersold it. It's not that ugly. It's like I mean, it's representative of what the final ship's going to look like.
I saw the Herald in white box. That was ugly.
We have to be involved from the beginning because certain things have massive impact. So like with the flight, it's something we have to consider from day one, like from the concept phase, because thruster positioning location makes a huge...
I knew he was going to bring it up.
Well, you shouldn't have mentioned it. It was fresh on my mind. It makes a huge impact, the actual locations on ships. So saying that we need a thruster closer towards the wing could change the way that the concept work's going to work for the entire ship. So it's something that has to be considered the whole way around. Like there are multiple teams that give feedback during the actual concept phase to make sure it's going to work. Because if we put all the concept art puts all the thrusters down the center spine of the ship, it's never going to work. It just won't. So
we'll go really fast in one direction.
Yeah, but you won't be able to turn.
No, you're able to turn. That's fine.
I mean, if you want Harold, sure.
Yeah.
But like,
you can't change the thruster positions on the Herald. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh,
not going to happen.
I can't change the back one, but I can change all the others.
You can change like the maps and that.
What if we change the Herald to go back to being asymmetrical?
Well, we just put giant sticks coming off the side of it and attach the thrusters to it.
I feel like just make another ship. No, it's not that bad.
All right, so white box, gray box, what comes after that?
Lot 0. So it used to be final art would be the next phase that we've moved on to, but we found that the amount of things that got put into final art from an art perspective was so vast that having it all as one phase meant a lot of things bled over into each other, and it had a knock-on for other downstream teams like the audio team, the VFX team.
Tech art as well.
And tech art, because theoretically they could get involved in doing their work earlier, but they didn't know when certain criteria had been met. So we drew a new line down final art and split it into Lot 0 and final, so that basically the end of Lot 0 is when the other teams can then start getting involved and doing more of their work. And it just means they don't have to get involved immediately, but it gives them a longer
was a very
window.
polite way of basically these two making sure that I don't make changes right at the last minute.
Yeah, basically.
I wasn't going to say it.
Like, let's not be around it.
I wasn't going to say it.
It makes us sign the ship off at the earliest possible opportunity so that it can unlock other people from doing their work. And I can't come in at the last minute and be like, do you know what?
Just to stop that art director toilet.
It is basically that.
Exactly.
Can we just move that wall just a little bit?
And for folks who, again, for many people, this is going to be their first discussion of the ship pipeline. LOD.
LOD, level of detail, is basically like you take your geometry, so your 3D model for the ship, duplicate it, and then smush it down, like optimize it more. You do that a few times, and basically going to really
Less complexity, right?
Yeah, as the further away you get from it in space, it will transition to the next LOD, right? So it's basically a way of optimizing a mesh as it gets further away from the camera.
Yeah.
Lot 0 is the highest quality one. So if you've got your face up against this table, you see everything. You step 2 meters back, and these ridges in the table won't be modelled anymore. They'll be flat.
Yeah, and also if, for example, we do LODs on something, and then we get feedback about it, it kind of makes those LODs redundant, right? So you really want Ben to be like, Ben, we're not doing any changes to it after we've done Lot 0, right?
Yeah.
Like that's it. That's your last chance to say change this, because we're going to move on to basically all these like destructive processes that mean you can't really go back from that point.
It's definitely an intervention.
I was going to say, it looks like
bear in mind, right? Corey joins the team, and within about 2 weeks, he's like, right, we need to talk about the pipeline. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, yeah, we need to change this. And yeah, it's much better. It's much better for team health, much better for scheduling and everything else. So
we're trying stuff. This is all stuff we're noodling with. It's not like this is the way. Like I'm not coming in like and just being like, oi, you know.
So
these are suggestions of things to try.
The situation you
by
could get into,
you mean
right?
dictatorship.
The situation you could get into is that you make like 4 different versions of the ship geometry, and then myself or Mark come along and be like, that thruster's in the wrong place.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you now need to redo that area of geometry for 4 different versions.
Yeah, and
you need to redo it.
Yeah, like some things, you know, are easy. Like, because again, as you go down through the LOD chain, you're making the ship less and less detailed. And so, you know, if by the time you get to like LOD 4 and 5, like moving things around a little bit doesn't really matter. Sometimes you play with the scale of them so that you reduce the amount of pop you get as these things kind of change. But you know, the LODs is like, it's the icing on the cake in terms of like where it is in the production pipeline, but it's also like the least fun and the most tedious part of the production
Take
pipeline.
this beautiful
your
looking
favorite part?
ship
Yeah.
and make it look worse,
And
then make it look worse than that.
Yeah.
Make it look worse than that.
Yeah, and it's, you know, it's quite therapeutic sometimes.
Do you want to do all the LODs then?
No.
Henry,
That was kind of sent me off.
Yeah, you're the newest member of the team here, and it's like this. So this pipeline that's being developed is pretty much the only pipeline you've worked in here, anyway, right?
Yeah.
What are your opinions on it so far? Do you this is a safe space. This is a safe space.
I'm between you, don't worry.
What do you think of the pipeline so far?
I think, well, I was working on props before and had somewhat similar pipeline. There's a lot more technical aspects that go into it on the vehicle side, and it seems like it works. And there's a lot of, what's it called? Room for conversations about stuff during the pipeline, which I think is very good, honestly. I don't know what to say bad about it. I'm learning about it, and it seems, it does its job. That's for sure.
You get past. You get past.
Have we completed a ship in this new pipeline yet?
Yes.
Yeah.
Cutter, right? Was it cutter?
I don't think we did the planning in
Was
that
it
way.
the
For the cutter.
CAR.
Are we allowed to talk about that?
We are allowed to.
The cutter, yes.
No, the other one.
No. Well,
Well, we said it.
The one that's going to get blipped.
No, that other one gets formally revealed next week.
Okay, yeah.
Next
week. We've done a variant of a ship. Variant, Mark, right? Not variant. It's a variant, isn't it? It's not a.
It's a variant.
Oh, the new variant. Yeah.
Yes.
I can't talk about that one.
Yeah, don't worry about that. But yeah. So basically, like this is just kind of things that I learned because I was managing the props team for a while and had an opportunity to sort of push the pipeline forward there, and it's just kind of stuff that I found worked for that team. Trying that kind of stuff out on the vehicle team basically, and seeing
I've
what
seen a
works.
trend here because I left the props team. You remade the pipeline.
Sorry.
You then come to the shit. I'm like, hang on a minute. I must have been doing something wrong.
No, it's
just Corey's following.
I'm
Ben around,
standing on the
cleaning up
shoulders
after
of
him.
giants.
Yeah.
Like
And fixing their mistakes.
Yeah. Beating them down with a hammer.
So David, you're here as representative of the former vehicle experience, the current vehicle feature team.
We live a bit outside of this content pipeline.
I was going to say, where do you come in and out of this pipeline here?
We actually are largely independent of the pipeline because
shows.
Well, there's a few. The first reason is that we tend to try our best to not have to do code work for every single ship, just because there's loads of ships and it would be unfeasible to do so. So we sort of live adjacent to the pipeline, doing things to support it every so often. So that could be making tools to help designers, or a new piece of tech that you can integrate to the ship to make the doors open differently. I don't know, something like that, right? And so we interact with them.
They break for us.
Yeah, exactly. we interact with the pipeline in the sense that we're trying to support it functioning, right? Most recently, for example, we made this tool that shows the designers why certain thrusters are being used in a certain way, which was received pretty positively, so that was good. So for example, the way the flight system works is it'll take the positioning of the thrusters that the artists have done, and it'll try and automatically put them into groups to use them for certain things. So when you fly left, it has a list of thrusters where it's I need to fire these thrusters when you go left. And that process is automatic, and the designers very often found that the thrusters were in odd groups and they didn't know why. So now there's a tool that shows them these thrusters are in this group and these are the reasons, and it's usually because, oh, you've rotated this thing in the model incorrectly or something like that.
So it thinks it's in the wrong direction.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's true.
Thruster facing inside.
Yeah. I mean, it was a nightmare having to go through the entirety of the XML and find out where we'd accidentally randomly put X or Y or a minus instead of a positive, and there was no real good feedback for it. So we'd have to just comb through the whole thing and try and figure out what wasn't firing or why it was pointing that way.
Thousands of lines, and as far as the game knew, you intentionally put it that way.
Because you're telling it that.
Because, yeah, you said fire down the x-axis. It didn't know that you wanted it down the y instead, so it's like...
So you can overwrite it in this file, but...
if you know what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to do it.
Well, if it's pointing in the wrong direction, like physically pointing in the wrong direction, it won't fire if the implementation file has it in the opposite direction, because there's a degree of functionality with it as well for how far away from the angle it can point. But then that was the other problem. So if we were 1 degree too far on a fixed thruster or something, it then wouldn't fire, despite the fact that it was correct positive X and Y, because the angle wasn't the right angle. That's it wouldn't fire, and we wouldn't know.
So now there's a tool that tells you.
Since we're legendarily renowned for being really good at naming things, does this tool have a name?
It is called the Thruster Group Debugger. It's very posh. We didn't call it something like, I don't know, Jackson or... Yeah. It's just functional name.
Right. So while we're talking about thrusters here, there's always one of the things that Chris has been known to say from time to time, we repeat often, is you take it to the point of realism, and then you bring it back to the point of fun. How real is real when it comes to these spaceships? How obsessed or concerned are we with making sure everything is as accurate scientifically or physically as possible? And how much do we just like rule cool some stuff and be like, no, I just like the way that looks, so you just hand waving them and make it work?
It depends on the ship, really. Like,
depends who you ask as well. Ben's a very rule of cool person, and you keep having to reel him in.
I just want Jeffrey's tubes. That's what I want. Is Jeffrey's tubes. I'm not allowed them. They're not real.
Why aren't we allowed Jeffrey's tubes?
Sorry.
I'm not getting into this conversation again. not on live recording.
We'll speak for an hour about Jeffrey's tubes now.
We could.
If you look at the...
Wait, we could have Jeffrey's tubes, or we could talk...
No.
No Jeffrey's tubes. If you look at the Hornet, that's a really good example of thruster layout for what a real spaceship would be, in that it's got a big thruster at the back, it's got 2 retros that are in line with it, and then the maneuvering thrusters are all equally spaced around it. So it's basically just...
very functional.
It's a cube with a spaceship dressing on it. So that's like real spaceship. But if we want every spaceship to be like that, that's sort of the perfect layout, which means every ship's thruster layout has to be like that, just on a scale, which means the Gladius here is good. I don't know, this one, hopefully everyone knows what a Gladius looks like. Those thrusters aren't in line like they are on the Hornet, they're spread out because of the shape of the wings. So technically that's less perfect, less real, but it looks, in my opinion, cooler than a Hornet. And it's like that on every ship. We always try and make sure, and I'm pretty sure we have in every instance, but I'm not going to 100% confirm that every ship has enough thrusters to believably do what it's supposed to do. And they may not be in the scientifically correct place. Like if you look at the 400i, there's thrusters there to move it, but they could be in a better place, but that would mean changing like the toothbrush nose of it. The snout. And that's where the rule of cool compromise comes in. And that's different for every ship.
The decisions that were made in the design of the flight system is such that we tend to forgive imperfections with regard to the balance of things. So, the thrusters, their positions do matter, as Mark has made it clear. But if you, for example, have a slight imbalance versus the front and the back of the ship, the system will ignore the imbalance. But you do kind of need to be sensible, because there is a point where you can do something kind of dumb and it won't fly.
I think it's very good at mirroring real life in that way anyway, because like I would think, with our advancements in technology as a race, like, we could probably come up with the perfect automobile, right? We could probably come up with the car that is the most efficient, can drive the first, whatever. But if you look at cars on the road, like most of them are different. And I think there's always a point in real life where
life for variety.
Yeah, a decision has been made to be like, okay, like we could do it like that, but this way just feels better. This way's nicer. We as a collective, we prefer it like this. And our systems allow us to kind of have that freedom as well, pretty much.
I want to also give shout out to the realism with regard to the way ships animate and move. A lot of, like you mentioned earlier, the way doors move and animate all of it is not faked. There's just like physical space to how everything moves.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
Yeah.
Which is
nothing disappears into.
Yeah, well, what you were mentioning earlier, which is like you start white boxing and you're kind of walking through the ship and it's like, oh yeah, done the doors and everything. And you're like, cool, just put it in like the outside camera and open the doors. It's like, oh, okay, all right, because
we stickler for that. Yeah, we can sure everything fits.
We can hide stuff, like if we wanted to. We just don't draw it when it goes into the wall, but we want to make sure, like,
we want to sell it.
Yeah, we want to sell the dream, and
those are the sorts of details that you can notice a lot of the time, and especially when you've got lots of things that are like breaking the laws of physics in subtle ways. The more they build up, the more it sort of breaks that sense of this is a real place I could be.
Mm-hmm. And it was a real struggling block in the past for a lot of our concept artists who have worked on other projects, and they were used to, it's just a movie set or it's just a TV set, so I don't care where that door goes once it's opened.
Yeah,
it's gone. And now we're like, no, you need to account for this.
I had lots of conversations with Gurmak, with Jim Martin, with Dave Hobbins. It's like people who have made spaceships for Star Wars, for Star Trek, the Defiant, the Falcon and stuff like this, and then they come here, and it's like, wait, the inside has to fit in the outside?
Yeah.
And it's like, it seems like such an obvious thing, but it's not a consideration that exists anywhere else. Not just in other video games, but in any of sci-fi.
It feels great when it does, though, because everything makes sense. As you're walking around the ship, why is it so thick? Oh, well, that's where the bulkhead door goes. Well, this wall's thicker than this wall. Yeah, but because that's an outside door. And it sells the realism of the ship more, which is so important that it feels like it could be a thing.
Yeah, I will tell a story without naming any names, but literally it was maybe my second week here back in 2015, and I'm watching somebody work on a ship, and I won't say the ship because it'll reveal, but they needed to put a door in. They put a door in, and the door stuck out through the exterior of the ship and the neck, and I looked at him and I was just brand new, and I watched him go. He goes, oh. And then he just grabbed the door and he rescaled the door down, and moved on. And I was like, I know I'm new here, but that doesn't seem like that's going to be a viable solution down the road. And it did become a problem years later when it came time to actually build that ship. So yeah, it's a unique challenge for concept artists, even some of the great concept artists that come from these other. We have a tremendous array of concept artists who have worked on this game. But yeah, is that the biggest challenge of making spaceships for Star Citizen? If you had to say, what is the hardest part of making ships for Star Citizen? I'm imagining you've each probably got different stories, so I'm curious to hear what your different answers would be. What is the pain in the butt, the thing the part of the process?
X-forms.
That's a technicality though, isn't it? Yeah.
Tell us what that is.
Yeah. What are X forms?
I don't know. You tell me. You guys keep giving us them.
Basically, on an animated piece of geometry, every bone has like a position stored on it, and if you haven't oriented it correctly, that position is kind of stored in the, in the file, and it can like skew things. So like you might have a helper pointing the wrong way, so when something attaches to it, it's in the wrong orientation, or it might offset when it goes to its LODs, so something just flies out into space when it goes into the LODs, stuff like that, basically.
And it stacks on
exactly.
nested objects, so you can have them all, like, if you have a big corridor section that's made of like 50 child objects, and there's an X-form issue on somewhere,
it'll kind of compound
everything beneath that. Just like if it transforms it like 1 meter off for the first child, then the next one's like 2 meters off. 3 years. And
so you just get this
and it
weird
looks,
cascading event horizon.
And it looks fine in the max file.
Yeah,
when you hit export, it goes in engine. It's
very bad.
It's like, oh.
But you can't just look at the entity and go, oh, well, this is the parent of it all, so that's what's wrong, because the entire thing breaks. So you've got to painstakingly go through bit by bit to potentially fix them all, because there's no way to see if it actually fixed it in Max, because it doesn't show in Max.
I think the biggest challenge is sort of, for me at least, is just the sort of the scope of a ship as a whole, right? It's so many different moving parts, so many different bits and bobs, right?
It's complicated.
Yeah, it's just very, they're just very complicated, and because of their complexity, you know, you have to be very attentive, and you have to make sure that you don't miss any details, right? And it's very easy to break stuff sometimes, you know. And then it's a case of everyone getting their heads together and being like, okay, why is this broken? And you need, you know, someone from design look at it and be like, and then someone else will look at it and they'll be like,
I mean, that's a pretty good impression. I have to admit,
I was like, I was listening to Mark Gibson right there.
And yeah, I think it's just, you know, you'd have to track down what the issue is. It's basically they're very complicated. I'd say that's it.
I got an answer that is sort of unique probably to the programmer's experience of these ships, right? Is some of the ships, most of the ships probably, I don't come directly through my hands because the tools that we've made for the design and art teams work, and the ship is created and they're having their time and it's all good. It's all fine. From my perspective, it's all good. And then there are some ships that have special, unique functionality. And these are the ones that come through my plate, because the artists, designers will come to me and be like, this thing that we want to do with the ship does not work because there's no tech to do it, or the tech doesn't support this. And those are the ships that are difficult to deal with.
The turret starts on top and then it rotates around to the bottom.
The Scorpius is an example of this. Another one is the Hull A.
Vehicle feature team were in the kickoff.
That's true.
No objections were raised. They were just like, yeah, fine, no problem.
The animating section on the Hull A is another great example of this, a very difficult thing to deal with.
The edge cases from that.
Yeah. Another thing is the thruster, folding things from the Redeemer. Is that the right ship?
Yeah.
Yeah. Those folding thrusters, they have special things that make the ships unique and special.
Yeah, you know the difference
because more flexible system, basically.
Yes, we do. Yeah.
The Redeemer is the one with the engines that do like this, and the Reclaimer is the one that can't take off from the surface of the planet and make it to atmosphere on its own.
Yes.
That's an old cut.
Yeah.
So he remembers.
I remember. I feel the pain.
All right. So, any other answers for the hardest part, John? As the vehicle overseer.
There's a lot of challenge just because of the size of the team and the global nature of it. I manage a lot of people, so anyone that's done management of more than 20 people knows the pain of just keeping everything a well-oiled machine. And I think vehicle pillar-wise, if we include vehicle feature, the artists and designers in the US, tech artists, and the VFX and audio, it knocks on for 80 to 90 people trying to get everyone all working together on, could be 6 or 7 vehicles simultaneously in various stages, just getting that all harmoniously working and being able to tell the people at the top, yep, 12 months from now, this is what's going to come out there, and hit those dates. And that's sort of where the planning poker has helped a lot. In the previous version was just we give the t-shirt sizes of small, medium, large, extra large, and we just book those in. And the teams would always do their best to hit those dates. Sometimes they slip, sometimes they were ahead. But yeah, just that management side of it is a difficulty. But that's part of the role. But relating to the actual ships themselves, I think for me, we have a lot of ships in the game, and it's every time we bring a new one in, getting a real believable justification for it, because it's the first question you always ask me when we do the filming of why this ship, and we don't want to just make them just because they're cool looking ships. They need to have a role and purpose and not tread on another one's role, and all just work together nicely.
And John has done enough ship segments for me at this point. I'm realizing that my mannerisms and habits are well known, literally. He sits down and goes, "You ready? Yeah, ready to get started? Okay. Start recording? Okay. Why? Why this ship? Yeah. Why not something else? Where's my jalopy?" So from the most difficult part or the least favorite part, what's the best part about making spaceships? And Henry, you got to talk on this one. We're going to make you go first. What's your favorite part about making spaceships?
I think making everything work, just putting it all together at the end. You know?
Seeing it come together.
Yeah, that's the
some of its
dream.
parts.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, it is exciting when it's
a
thing that works.
Yeah, like seeing
It works.
yes,
We've got to work as when send it out.
yeah. We need the equivalent of like smashing the champagne bottle against the side of the ship.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it's a big red release button.
Yeah, yeah. I think one of my favourite bits is when we get to the point where we hand the ship over to other people to deal with. And like, I get how that sounds, right? I get how it sounds. But what I mean is yeah, we hand it over to the marketing team. Yeah, we hand it over to the marketing team, and like you've spent like the last 6 months staring at this ship, and you've lived through the frustrations of all the annoyances that you've had to deal with to get it to where it is, and then you hand it over to the marketing team, and they go away and they do their thing, and they come back like 3 weeks later, like, oh yeah, can you just approve these shots for me? You open it up and you're like, cool, click. Ooh. Yeah. Oh, I like that, and click. Oh, I like that, and you've had a bit of time to kind of step away from it. You come back to it and you look at it, and actually being like proud of what the team's delivered is super rewarding. And like I say, with our ships, they are super complicated. They break a lot during development, and there's a lot of one of the hardest things I think is for me is managing expectations, and that's not like managing like the exec's expectations or like that stuff. It's managing like my expectations and the team's expectations of what we can deliver for these ships. And you kind of sometimes get lost if they're like, oh, it sucked that we couldn't quite do this because we didn't have the tech, or couldn't quite do that. But then
enough time to do that.
Yeah, we didn't.
The way I wanted it.
Yeah, and you're kind of like making compromises. But then when you see it all come together at the end, and you get these beautiful screenshots that have been made, or B-roll, or trailers, or whatever it is, and you're like, yeah, do you know what? I can have a whiskey tonight, and I can feel proud that we did good. And I think that's the rewarding part for me.
Similar, like when the backers first get their hands on them, when they first get to spawn it at the ASOP terminal, run over to the ship, and you just start seeing it all over Spectrum, all over Reddit, all over Twitch, where people have started to play with them and use them, and how excited and happy they are to actually get the ship that they've been waiting for and use it. It's fantastic seeing them actually get their hands on it.
I think mine is similar, seeing the reception to it, especially at live events. So the last CitizenCon we did in Manchester, where we were sat in the dark in the sofa at the front of the stage whilst the Carrack trailer came on, and the noise and like the physical, everyone was clapping, pounding their feet, and you could feel it in your chest from, I don't know how many people, there's like 1,000 people in that room. And just the noise and the pressure of that hitting you on stage was amazing.
Well, we were all in the other theatre, like all of the staff were in the other theatre, and we could hear people, the other side of the building, absolutely exploding about it. It was fantastic. I was terrified, for the record, because that was my ship and I was absolutely bricking it, but it was amazing to see.
So we've talked a lot about pipeline and process and stuff, and I'm sure that for the folks who have got to make the summary videos, the recap videos, they're like, there's no actual new information in this show. It's like they've turned an hour into 40 seconds. Let's talk a little bit about what's actually in the pipeline right now. So folks who follow the project know that there's the only constant is change. Let's just get that out the door. We say we're working on this, and then we want to do this next, and we want to do that next. But then some priority changes, or some tech takes longer to come online, and we thought we were going to do this next, but then the underlying tech isn't ready, so we can't do that next. There's staff departures, people move in and out through the industry or whatever, and we thought we were going to do that next, but now with the people that we have, it's more appropriate that we do this instead of that. Let's talk about what's in the pipeline right now. Not any of the secret stuff, the stuff that's unannounced, but as far as the stuff that the community already knows about, what is currently actively in development?
I'm going to look at John very carefully.
Get the beeper ready.
Yeah, because I need to make, like, if I get the red eyes, I know I've done something wrong.
It's just the whole thing is just beep.
Yeah.
Do this or that.
So we'll start with, you kind of like led into it quite well there. The merchantman, that's like the big elephant in the room for me.
I didn't say this.
No, but it's,
mentioned
the
the
big expectation.
That's clearly on your mind.
It is on my mind. It's a very, very beautiful elephant, but it is very large. I think that's the one that, that's the one for me that is got the most unknowns around it. We're still kind of actively working on it due to basically people chasing new adventures and just in slight priority changes. We've kind of got a skeleton team that are currently working on the exterior. The exterior is progressing along well. It's kind of, it's gone through most of its modelling. We're starting to do kind of material breakups and that sort of stuff, and really, defining the overall exterior shape. But we do need to look at that and decide whether or not it's, now is the right time for it with the current team we've got, or whether or not we, focus on other ships. So it's still in progress at the moment. When it's going to actually come out is completely unknown at the moment.
We're at a sort of like crossroads with it, where we've done a lot of, like the interior is white box, the exterior is further along, and we're at a point where we continue down the path and we absorb that amount of time that this ship of that size is going to take, or we, production phrase, put a pin in it and move on to something else, which is going to be a better use of our time. So I can hear all the merchantman owners screaming now. But like, there is a big capital ship. Maybe there are smaller ships that would come sooner that add better value to the game.
It's got to be one of the most complicated ones. Right?
Yeah,
it's the size of the 890,
capitals,
and it's for being a brand new ship. The art direction style is so much more than anything we've ever done. Like even with the 890, we had some origin stuff to go from with the 600. Yes, the style completely evolved over the course of the 890, but the merchantman's it's not just a capital ship. It's an alien brand new merchantman.
Pretty much every other capital ship in the game is human and is modular to some extent. Like you make one corridor piece, you've made 90% of the corridors in the ship. And with merchantman, that's not true. Like
so much
every corridor is
it always the entire thing.
It needs that time and that, I have that expectation. Like I said about managing expectations, we could make it all modular. It wouldn't be what we want.
Wouldn't be as cool.
Yeah. And so there's a fine balance. And with every ship, we try and reuse stuff and we try and take the most sensible approach to it. But the merchantman has like very little to pull from. But anyway, merchantman done, right?
Wait, no, not merchantman done.
Merchantman done. Sorry, right. Talking about the merchantman is done. Sorry, Jared. Yeah. Sorry, comments, people. Talk about the merchantman. Let's move on. Okay, so other end of the scale, we've kind of just wrapped up the. All right, I'm allowed to talk about these for a minute. Yes. We've just wrapped up the cutter and we've just wrapped up the course.
Oh, that's fine. I thought you were going to say the
Corsair. So those kind of resources are free back up. In terms of the people that are on the Corsair, they're moving on to doing some gold standard work on some squadron ships that will eventually lead to that work coming into the PU at a later date. And then we've got the other people that were working on the cutter. They've moved on to working on to the Spirit. So, the Spirit is in early white box. We're tackling the interior. It's all coming along pretty well. We're focusing mainly on the bomber variant right now, but we are making sure we white box the VIP variant, because the VIP one is the one that's going to cause the most headaches. It's got multiple floors in a small space. It's
got an escape pod. Well, escape.
I don't know if we've actually announced that yet.
Now we have.
Okay.
So we have to work out the middle section, being the escape raft.
Yeah, the secret bit.
The secret. Is that correct?
There's a few technical and visual hurdles we need to tackle with that. So we're working through that at the moment. We're working on the links, thank you. The links, that's also in white box, again, early days. We've white boxed most of the interior and kind of going through the exterior at the moment. And although it's based on the Ursa kind of like chassis, I think the only real bit that's being reused is probably the cockpit. Even that will get some love.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's like visually, it's going to feel as part of the same family, but will be a different vehicle altogether. We've got the SRV, which is going super good. It's kind of
final
trucking along for Argo. It's going through final art. I'd say about 2/3 of the exterior is final art complete in terms of modelling and material breakup and that side of things. Oh, sorry, LOD 0 complete. Oh, yeah. LOD 0 complete. And then on the interior, the cockpit, the kind of like engineering section are both kind of progressing through LOD 0, and it's just habitation area that's still kind of in grey box. What else?
The Vulture's got to be pretty much done.
Vulture, so Vulture is pretty much ready to go. We're just really waiting on the salvage feature to be kind of completely ready for it. It has meant we've had to go back and make some adjustments to the interior, but they're like minor things, nothing major. So that's going good. The whole C is kind of with tech art. It's kind of we're mostly art complete on it, but we need tech art to go in and do their kind of pass to get it all, like the hull get it all moving, and once that's done, we can go through and do a final lighting pass and fix up any bugs. And
I know there's discussions going on right now about, because the whole we talk like the Vulture with salvage. There are knock-ons that affect ships that aren't necessarily exclusively ship related.
Yeah.
Like the salvage gameplay is done by a gameplay team, and then gets kind of integrated into the ship. With the Hull C, its big external kind of thing is the economy.
Yeah.
And basically it's like you can't just dump it out there and then without all this other work being done for the economy, being done with the cargo refactor and all the stuff that has to feed into it. So I know there are a lot of conversations going on right now to make sure that when it does drop, it doesn't just destroy.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's it. There's things that's like say like pipeline internal, and then there's things that are game wide, and the Hull C is one of those things that juggles both, unfortunately, or careers straight through both of them.
They're always the tricky ones as well.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're ahead of those gameplay teams, sometimes we're behind, and we always get the damned if we do, damned if we don't. Like, the ship could be ready, and in the past we'd have just released it without the gameplay, staff error. But now we try not to do that, but then it's the case of, well, hey, this ship's disappeared off the roadmap now, it must be done, so it's coming in the next patch, and it's like,
gameplay's not ready.
Gameplay's not ready.
Yeah, and things like the Hull C, that requires, it's like it's Hull on steroids, isn't it? Basically, because that rear section,
my table, isn't it?
Yeah, that rear section has, you can walk around it, which you couldn't do on the Hull A, and that causes
a problem.
A whole lot of headaches. Yeah, lifts in moving. Anyway,
giant
one physics grid that separates and becomes two physics grids.
And
three.
Right. Like the collar, the pipe. Yeah, we want that to. I have quite high expectations for that. And so that unfortunately requires some additional work from the different teams to get that looking right and feeling right. Okay, and then we've got like talking of salvage. That's one of those things that is somebody else's baby and feature, has a massive impact on all of our ships. So the team have been kind of, Henry's been kind of like spearheading some of this stuff, has been working exceptionally hard in looking at all of our current ships that are in game. All of their damage and underlying damage messages were created for a damage feature that was worked on many years ago, and now we're like, well, that works for salvage, but some of it works great, some of it didn't. And so we're going through, and for me, I love supporting new features. For us to kind of take all of the damage meshes and the UV2s on ships and everything and do them to a gold standard is years of work. Yeah. And I don't want to be the person that's holding back a feature that can be really good fun for the sake of me being like, you can kind of see through that bit, and then you kind of see through this bit. Yeah. So we're going in, getting all the ships ready, getting all the UV2s updated. We're improving damage as we can and go through.
I was talking to Lars the other day, and Lars was telling me how much work he did on the cutter, was specifically the damage maps.
Yeah, he really pushed it forwards on that. Actually,
he was like, the cutter is going to look really good when it's destroyed.
So like,
and I'm like, I'm sure that's the selling point.
Yeah, and that's what I mean by impacts our pipelines and.
It's tech debt basically, and I mean that's the natural part of being in a project that's creating new features, right? Is, you know, the ships we made several years ago, they're not necessarily going to be fully compatible with these new features we drop. Yeah. So, you know, that is tech debt, and that's sort of a part of development, right? And basically we just had to triage the ships and be like, these ones are...
That happens with every game. It's just not every game happens to be running a live environment right in the middle of this development. So it's not seen when it happens at every other game. We're just kind of like, here it is.
Usually you have to pay off the tech debt before the game comes out.
Yeah, exactly.
Usually.
And there's good kinds of tech debt, and then there's kinds of tech debt that you can avoid, right? But I mean, things like salvage, like, you know, we want the damage to look good anyway, so it's a pass that...
Yeah, the salvage work that necessitated all this was built off the damage system which we introduced with the Gladius.
So a long time ago.
2015,
2016. And that system hasn't really changed since then. And it looked good for damage. Like when you're shooting another ship with a spaceship 100 meters away and you see the burn and the glow and everything come on. And when we looked at salvage, it was like, yeah, we've got a system, it works.
Yeah.
But then when you pressed your face up against it, scraping it with a thing, it's like, oh, actually, this technically works.
Yeah.
But it's not to the standard we want. Mm-hmm. So
I think as well, like as we've, you know, over the years, just, you know, you call it rot or just changes and stuff, like, you know, damage maybe hasn't been scrutinized as much because it hasn't needed to. And then when a feature like salvage is coming up, you know, then we sort of need to take stock of where everything is now and review it again and be like, you know, these ones probably want a bit of love, right? And then there's some that you're like, that'll work, you know. But it's not all going to be perfect for tier 0 salvage with hull scraping, but it will all work, you know, as a feature, and, you know,
it will look better.
I was going to say,
I know it'll look.
You heard it here, Corey Bamford. It'll all work
for the most part.
If it doesn't work, you can send your letters to Corey Bamford.
Okay, the ship damage will. For the most part.
Hold on. Ship damage? You mean the visual damage? I keep having to correct this.
The visual damage. The visual damage will all mostly work.
Mostly work.
Yeah, and the shaders had a bit of love. And we've created some new textures for it as well. So there's a little bit of visual polish that will benefit damage as well.
Yeah, less tinfoil.
Less tinfoily damage is now kind of it. Yeah.
On the plates.
Yeah, Dan's done a great job on the team of kind of, yeah, we've got issues that were ship specific, which means we have to touch every ship, and then we've got improvements we can make that are like ship wide, and the new shaders and the texture improvements and stuff that we've done kind of like affects all ships in one go. So that's a nice, good, you know, win. It's the, like I say, there is going to be cases where you salvage part of a ship and you might see a bit poking through, and it's like, well, it's still fun. It's still fun. Yeah.
We did our best.
Yeah. And then I guess we've done some work on resource management, and that's kind of like, we're in like prototyping phases and kind of getting stuff in and working.
And the relays to the
but we're not at the point yet where that's like actively rolled out across ships, and we haven't done a big pass and stuff. We're kind of like early days with that stuff.
Design's done their pass on it.
Yes, yeah. Sorry, on the art side.
The only side that matters.
Sound like nothing.
Yeah. I think have I missed any?
I think that's all the ones we can talk about.
Okay.
Yeah.
And of course, the ones that we can't talk about, you'll learn more about next week on ISC and towards the end of the year and into early next year. There's some cool stuff. We're just about out of time at this point. We've talked a lot about spaceships, the process of making spaceships, what we like about it, what we don't like about it, stuff like this. Why? We'll go back to what's normally the first question here.
It's an existential question.
I want to ask you guys.
Talk about spaceship stuff?
I want you guys to talk personally. You're not as representatives of CIG or your teams, but as you personally. Why do you make spaceships? This game, there's a lot to this game. It's not just spaceships. But why? What drew you to spaceships? Why do you stay? Why did you leave props to go to spaceships? Why don't you leave spaceships to go make something else? Like why spaceships?
They're so complex that but for me personally, they're all so complex. Every single one feels like it's a puzzle that needs to be solved, and solving that puzzle for me is really satisfying. To put it bluntly.
So full of shit.
Oh, thanks.
No, that's a good answer.
It's why I like doing the layouts of ships so much. Does it make sense to put a corridor there? Why does it not make sense to put Jeffrey's tube in anything? Why does this ship need a rework?
We're going to talk about Jeffrey's tube.
Entire episode about it.
For me, it started a very long time ago at my former job at a former company, and I was sat there one day, and a colleague reached out to me and was like, I'm working on this project with someone I can't talk about, and he's trying to put a 1 kilometre long spaceship in our engine with a full interior. And I was like, that's impossible. There's no way that could work. And he's like, well, here you go, here it is. And I was like, oh, it is possible. Cool, this seems like a fun thing. And then some months passed, and then I ended up here.
Only 1 kilometre.
Only 1 kilometre.
At that time.
As an old backer of the game, long before I worked here, for me, it goes back to just the sense of adventure of going to space. That's a very fundamental driving feeling behind being interested in spaceships. And then the second level, which makes Star Citizen particularly interesting to me, is that I'm also a physics nerd, and the realism and physicality of the game and how things work is just unbelievably satisfying. So you get this double hit of sense of adventure and wonder of going to space with this feeling that it's oh, this can actually work. And it's just so satisfying. It just feels really good.
Would you agree?
Yeah. I mean, I've been a long time fan of sci-fi and, space games and space stuff. And, coming to this company was a really exciting opportunity for me, and I had a really great time working on props and weapons. To be honest, I'd been on the props team for a very long time, and I kind of fancied the change when this opportunity presented itself to me. And I've always really admired visually the spaceships in the game and how they work functionally. I find it just amazing. So for me, it was, a chance to sort of renew my passion in a way. You know what I mean? When you've been doing the same thing for quite a long time, you're like, don't get me wrong, I love props, and that team was so fun to work with. But I think starting something new again, it's exciting, I feel like I've got a lot of challenges and things I need to learn again, which is a feeling I sort of haven't felt for a while, if that makes sense. So,
Getting very wholesome here, aren't we?
I love how I get a little comment, but Corey doesn't for his heart to heart.
Oh, I was about to jump on him.
All right.
How about you?
Oh, they're just the best looking thing in the game, aren't they? I mean, I'm pretty simple in that way.
Going in with the bold statement straight out the bat.
I think it's a personal opinion.
Environment team's waiting outside.
Ian, he's on the 8th floor. Yeah. You find him upstairs.
I think for me, I grew up, watching Red Dwarf on VHS over and over, and then watching Star Trek and Star Wars, and I think like you say, that sense of adventure is a big draw for the project. When I first kind of saw what Star Citizen was, I was making racing games and that side of things, and the vehicle art was inspiring as one thing, but I think I am not lucky enough that I think I will make it into space. So this is as kind of close as I can get. My kids, they might, if they're lucky. I don't think I'm quite there, unfortunately. So getting that kind of that Star Citizen for me is a game that I really want to play, and I want to have that exploration and playing Star Wars Galaxies and those sort of other games, that big MMOs and exploration, and that to me is just a huge driving factor, the exploration of the unknown. And also I told my sister that I was going to go and make spaceships, and she thought I was going to go and make spaceships, real ones. And I'm like, no, Sammy, I make video games. I do not go from making cars in racing games to actual real life spaceships. Apart from
You shouldn't have corrected her.
They are real life spaceships.
The amount of people that contact me on LinkedIn thinking that I am actually
I'm working
making
SpaceX.
real vehicles.
Oh, the amount of emails I get from LinkedIn, people saying, "Hey, you should make." He goes, "Would you like help making marketing videos for your product?" And I'm like, "What do you think I do?" All right. So last question here. We always ask this at these things. If you could add one spaceship to Star Citizen, that spaceship that we haven't yet added yet, that you want personally for the game. Yeah, I was gonna say, this is your chance to pitch John Crew right now on camera. What would it be? Corey, we'll start with you.
Oh, why'd you start with me? I haven't decided yet.
Just imagine a countdown clock going down in the back.
No
pressure.
Why were you doing this to me? You're psyching me out now.
Because I didn't get to jump down your throat like I did Mark, so this is
fair enough.
I guess is it spaceship or vehicle?
Spaceship or vehicle.
Okay.
I quite like non-combat ships, so I think just like I really like the idea of the colonizing ships, like the name. Yes, Pioneer. Something like that I think would be pretty sweet.
Okay. How about you, Mark?
I want to make, I'm going to keep pitching to John the idea of us making a giant ground vehicle base. Mm-hmm. That's what I want to see in game, so I'm going to keep asking John.
Is this a movable base?
Yeah, a giant ground vehicle moving base.
Yeah.
So think like a giant tank that has 3 floors on it.
Like a total Mad Max kind of, like a whole facility. Call it the Rolling Thunder.
Yeah. What was that film came out recently that was the Rolling City thing?
Mortal Machines.
Mortal Machines, like Mortal Machines style giant
That's cool.
base. That's what I want.
It's cooler than mine, I think.
Yeah, like an outpost on wheels.
Yeah.
Okay. How about you, Dave?
So I don't know how the artists might enjoy working on a ship like this. However, I love the idea that exists in some sci-fi worlds of organic ships that are organic creatures and move in weird, strange ways, and are animated very fluidly and smoothly. The sense of wonder and strange newness from that is just appeals to me. And I'd like to see something like that out there for.
There's definitely space for more alien ships in our universe.
Yeah. The living organic ship, like the Cobra Law, from an old G.I. Joe movie, the original movie, the good one.
Yeah.
Ben, what you got?
Or something.
I think are 2 or only 1. all right.
No.
Okay, 1.
You're special.
All right. I'd like to do like a traditional space rocket. Just because I think it would just be cool, right? Like proper circles on the side of it, big thrusters, takes off vertically, be cool. But I've never seen space sweepers and like their junker ships. Like for me, that's what our universe is missing. The ability to it's not a manufacturer, and I've been harking on about how important manufacturer identities are and everything. It's not a manufacturer. It is people that do live in the kind of like the deep remote areas. Yeah. Like you do get a duct tape and
Scrappy challenge style.
Scrappy challenge style, you know it. And I think like a ship that people have passed down through generations has been cobbled together with whatever they can find, and it might see a station once every 10 years, and it's really sort of unique and homely, and it has a personality of itself.
That's cool.
How about you, Henry?
Wallace and Gromit ship.
What does that even mean?
What do you mean? You sat quietly for an hour just waiting. The second I came in, it was like, Wallace and Gromit ship. Wallace and Gromit ship.
Oh, you mean like the classic? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'm on the same page.
The one from Wallace and Gromit.
Yeah, okay.
I'm sure if you ask Spaceman, he can draw you a concept for it.
Is this like the kind of ship that a 7-year-old would draw if you're like, draw a line?
That's a strong shape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Definitely a Harry
a
ship.
bold
Yeah,
design.
Harry ship.
Yeah, I'm in.
Design.
I'm sold.
Oh, Jared, what about you?
Oh, me?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
But,
one that's not on the backlog.
Or jalopy.
John already knows this. It's I want the thing that I want is I want the old space jalopy. I want a ship that isn't sold. You can't buy it in a store. You can't pledge for it. Nothing. It's the old Hulk that you have to find and that you have to repair.
Yeah.
Basically, you have to go on a 28-point mission, through 13 different planets and locations, and find the parts and basically reassemble this thing. And what you've got is not the fastest and not the most capable or anything. It's an old 200, 300-year-old spaceship. But when you're done, like, it's a status symbol. It's a thing. It's like I put in the work, I put in the time, and it's a collector's item, and it's restored. It's like an old classic car.
You ever played WoW? It's the Violet Protodrake.
Huh?
You ever played World of Warcraft? It's the Violet Protodrake. You've been there, you've seen everything, you've done all the experiences, and at the end of it, this is what you've got.
Sure.
You want people to know you spent 800 hours doing questions to get this less than optimal ship.
Yeah, but then because it's because when people do the
It is his
restorations,
less
though,
not bullshit.
they're all restorations are always different. Like every '57 Chevy is not exactly alike and stuff. So then there would be some variations. Like it's like you got the blue door and you got the and stuff like that. Like that's what I would like a quest line ship. Something that you have to pursue and develop through gameplay.
I can definitely get behind that.
Yeah, that's unique to you.
We come to John.
I suppose I was like, you can make whatever ship you
John
want.
is fair. He just gives us a brief and we have to do it.
For me, it's sort of like Ben's. Like I want to do either the original Zeus or like an Imperium recreation, which, if people don't know, it's the first RSI ship that could do a quantum jump, had a quantum drive. I think they were notoriously unreliable, so there's a lot of them just scattered around the universe.
Sounds like we could combine the ideas. What if we combine the ideas, John?
But it's just a really cool visual. Like it's like the old space plane.
Yeah. So what if it's restoring old Zeus pieces?
I think I'm on this team now. That sounds better than mine.
Yeah, you have to go down to a desert planet, find just like a random panel.
That's my point. Panel at a time.
You have to salvage
using all the different game places, using salvage, using scanning, everything.
There's a bit at the bottom of every cave.
Some parts have to be manufactured. They don't make them anymore, so you have to go through manufacturing gameplay in order to.
But you have to find the original blueprints that are some abandoned.
And you have to mine this material to get it. It's like that. It can be a thing that ties everything else together.
Well,
so
it's like that brief, John.
Let's go.
Right, get that one started.
And that's about it. Thank you for hanging out with us for the time being. Star Citizen Live, the IAE 2952 All Ship Spectacular. I don't remember what name I came up with at the beginning. I should start this stuff earlier. Remember, if you haven't check out Inside Star Citizen yesterday, where we revealed the Drake Cutter, the newest starter ship. And the first from Drake Interplanetary, sponsors of this year's Intergalactic Aerospace Expo, which should be going on right about now, or if it hasn't launched yet, it probably launched by the time the show is over, whatnot. I don't have anybody to talk to right now to find out. And then remember, IE goes on all this week and into next week. We'll be back with Inside Star Citizen next week, talking about some new ships that are coming to the Persistent Universe through this year's IE, so you want to check that out for Star Citizen Live. That was John, and that was Dave, and that was Corey, and that was Ben, and that was Mark, and that was Henry. And if you know me at all, that was an amazing thing that I got through all 6 of us at once without an ounce of hesitation. Take care, everybody. See you next week.
I'm not happy that the Banu Merch Man is taking longer than expected, but hopefully sometime mid-quarter next year, at least come out next year. Come on. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Just like the Polaris, I want also the what else? Perseus in the game. I want the Pioneer in the game. I want the Endeavor in the game. I want all the ships in the game that have been in concept for a very long time, instead of making new ones. And that's my humble opinion, that they should make all the older ships first, finish them all, and then work on new ships, before they even make new ships. They should be finishing up all the old ones first. That's my opinion. I'm not harping on it. I'm not mad about it. I'm just a little bit, my goodness. But I also know that the game can't handle like I don't think the game will be able to handle yet the Polaris, for example, or the Endeavor. So I understand those two ships taking a little bit of longer back burner to create, and to add to the game. But the Banu Merchantman I see is a possibility. But hopefully by when 4.0 comes out sometime next year, we get the Banu Merchantman. At least, minimum, we get the Banu Merchantman next year. But I'm gonna go into doing one more video. Let's see. It's this one. And then we're gonna go into the verse and play some.
IAE is here, and with it the biggest showcase of ships and vehicles this side of the Stanton system. And over the next 2 weeks, we've got videos galore dedicated to the new ships being introduced, the in-universe companies that create them, the way that we make them out here IRL, and updates and reworks to some fan favorites currently in the pipeline. But to get things started this week, it's time to talk starter ships, why they matter to the overall scheme of things, who needs one and why, and introduce you to the newest making their debut in tomorrow's showcase.
The purpose of a starter ship is a player's first entry into the game that gives them that little taste of what the game can do.
It should be relatively simple, straightforward, easy to fly, and should provide access to as many different game loops as possible.
They matter in the overall scheme of things because everyone has to start somewhere, so why not start with a little ship that can do a little bit of most things acceptably well to get you ready for the bigger universe. Even if you had every ship in the game, starships still have a purpose in that sometimes you don't want to risk your big value ships or vehicles.
Multiplayer or like finding people to play with isn't always like that evident, and you might just feel like playing for an hour or so, and then a starter ship is perfect because you don't have to have a whole team to man it.
They're also fun when you're doing something like a Zero to Hero run to get you started and on your way.
Zero to Hero is when people start out with one of the basic ships and try and work their way up using only in-game loops and in-game currency to buy one of the larger ships for a certain goal they set themselves.
I personally enjoy doing that sometimes because it gives you a new perspective on the game. When you first came into the game, maybe it was 5, 6, 7 years ago, the experience then is different to the experience now, so it gives you that reset and sort of relearn of the game.
I think you just made one hell of a good decision.
A lot of our current lineup of starter ships were developed back before our game loops really became a proper thing, and that means that we're in a really good position at the moment to introduce a modern starter ship that is set up to work with our modern game loops, and that's where the Drake Cutter comes in.
The Drake Cutter is Drake's entry into the starter ship market. It provides a well-rounded experience for one person to just go take on all that the verse can offer.
It's a ship that is very straightforward in the way that it's designed. It's designed to get a starter player from A to B as safely as possible while they do their starting gameplay loops.
You'll notice the materials and the whole look of the ship and how it's built. It's not really aerodynamic. It's very bolted on and like put together out of like different kinds of metals, and like some are more rusty than others. It's using the Vulture VTOLs. It's also using that Drake signature cladding and paneling that's like bolted on top. It's very functional but robust and slightly janky looking.
I think my favorite part of it is actually the way that it flies. It's got big engines, but quite small maneuvering thrusters, which means that it's relatively fast in a straight line. But as soon as you start trying to turn, you really begin to feel the weight of the ship because it's quite a heavy ship for a starter. And that gives it a lot of character. And I think as most of the time that you spend in your ship, you'll be flying it, I think it's very important that we get that sort of thing right. It has a relatively large interior, the largest of any starter ship.
Everything is quite tactile on the inside. There's lots of levers and clunky buttons rather than holographic displays. You don't have
the finer cladding on the inside that other manufacturers would do. It's all exposed insulation and pipe work just to give it that no frills spared experience.
As the ramp lowers, you're greeted by the cargo hold. This is where most of the components live in their component bays, and this is also where cargo is stored. You have a door at the back of the cargo area that leads you through into the hab, which is where the basic amenities that the cutter comes with are. You have your little bathroom, bed with a little reading light, a little storage locker and some shelving. And then through on the other side of the hab is the cockpit, which is where the last two components live, the pilot seat and dashboard.
The thing I like about the cutter the most is just how evolved it is compared to some of the other starter ships. It has a cockpit with a really tactile experience in it. It has onboard living quarters and storage, as well as an actual cargo bay that you can fit cargo and larger things in. So it gives you lots of variety in what you can do with it.
The Drake cutter is for everyone. It's a simple starter ship that everyone will be able to find a use for. In every fleet, there is a use for a small, tough, relatively fast ship.
Compared to the other starters, I think a lot of it comes down to personal preference on looks. It's quite a cool-looking ship. It's got a bunch of little cool features, like I love the little slidey armor windows that you can pop into place. And yeah, it's just quite well-rounded.
It has access to more gameplay loops than you'll get in any other starter. You'll be able to carry other people. You'll be able to carry a vehicle if you're careful. You'll be able to very easily get mission boxes in and out. You can do a little bit of bounty hunting if you're very careful. It makes a very good explorer because it has very large fuel tanks compared to the other starter ships. It's like we took a Cutlass and made it tiny.
The cutter is Drake's first foray into starter ships for the persistent universe, and will become available to all players straight to flyable when the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo 2952 launches proper tomorrow. But who is Drake Interplanetary, creator of the new cutter, shunned antagonist of Invictus Launch Week, and this year's sponsor of IAE? Let's find out more.
Do you have a favorite Drake ship?
I love the Buccaneer. I used to be able to really wreck some stuff in that ship. Although the Cutlass is really good because it is, again, it can be good in a dogfight and it can also, transport some stuff. But I have a real soft spot for the Buccaneer. I'm very excited for the Corsair. I don't know if I can talk about that one, but that one looks super cool.
It's literally behind you on the screen.
Yeah, that one. That one looks cool. I like the wings. And the asymmetry is cool. Drake Interplanetary is one of our bigger ship manufacturers, but they sort of, in a nutshell, kind of sell themselves as the bad boys of ship manufacturing. They have a reputation of being a popular ship among criminals, which sort of implies that they're kind of courting that demographic, which is somewhat true, but not entirely true. They're very much a legitimate organization. They're a proper business, but they kind of very much take the stance of we're not responsible for what people do with our product. We're going to make highly modular, easily repairable, kind of cheap products. And if people happen to use those for crime, well, that's their choice. We have nothing to do with it. Another aspect to it too is the fact that they're so affordable and versatile as far as their ships. That's made them very common. So it's also one of those things, it's like, why it's popular for criminals is that it becomes a very low profile type ship. So the idea being that if I want to commit a crime, I don't want to be driving a supercar I want to be driving a car that a lot of other people are driving, so I can kind of blend in a little bit easier. So it's been fun kind of riding that line of them sort of teasing their criminal connections while not overtly being a criminal corporation. And so over the past couple of years, their marketing has shifted to much more of a, take back the power. We're trying to provide weapons and tools for the people because you can't trust the government or the military to save you. You need to have the tools to be able to do that yourself. So that's been kind of the thing that's been driving them for the past couple of years, and is certainly keying into the current IAE that they're co-sponsoring. Part of the reason why Drake is one of the sponsors of this year's IAE, aside from the fact that they were releasing a handful of ships, we were trying to figure out what would make most sense for them to be to contribute towards a theme, because that's always kind of a big discussion point when we start tackling each year's IAE. If you're familiar with our Fleet Week event, Drake always runs a counter program to it. So once Fleet Week is over, there's what's called Defense Con, which is Drake's answer, if you will, to Fleet Week, because Drake and the military have a bit of a contentious relationship. See, in their past, the first ship that Drake manufactured was the Cutlass, and they made it as a contender for a military contract. And so the military shot them down. They ended up just saying, hell with it, and we'll release it to the public. And that's how they basically got their start. So there's a little bit of contentiousness between Drake and the military. And so with IAE, their kind of bold message is the military is useless. Basically, you can't trust them. They're not going to be there for you. You need to be in charge of your own destiny, and you need to protect your family, and we're going to provide you the tools to be able to do that. And so one of the fun things, because that's very much on display with a lot of the Defense Con, like branding and advertisements and stuff like that. But one of the fun things is IAE is a much more kind of chill event. It's more downplayed, more low key. IAE as an organization, we like to sort of, talk about them in kind of brand words. So like they're much more intellectual. They're focused on engineering and innovation and stuff like that. And then you have Drake coming in, basically saying like, screw the government, and IAE having to be like, whoa, pump the brakes there, guys. So it becomes a fun balance between finding those moments where Drake kind of pushes through their edginess and overrides the IAE, and also where IAE is able to kind of rise up to kind of tamp down their more provocative messaging.
For those living in the past, it's a new generation, and Drake don't give a damn about their bad reputation. Yeah. Drake is often the manufacturer of choice for those who value pragmatism and clarity of purpose over luxury and over-engineered styling, and look to celebrate this ethos as sponsor of this year's Intergalactic Aerospace Expo. But at the other end of the manufacturer spectrum is Origin, famous for their extravagance and leisure, but slightly infamous in their mishandling of the original 600i rollout. Let's find out what went wrong the first time around and take a look at how the team aims to address the issues in the current internal concept rework.
So the 600i, when it first came out, was one of those ships that we talked about in the past that has had a troubled development.
The original 600i, its core issue was what we prioritized for space. The rear was a massive habitation area where there was pool tables and bars. And then you had the very front of the ship, which had the bridge and the captain's quarters. And then it forced the entirety of the core gameplay loops of the ship to live in the middle of it. So you had this small module where everything needed to happen.
If you're designing spaceships, you kind of need to make sure that everything's there for a reason. And when we get to the point where we've got kind of big unused areas of the ship that don't really support functionality, it just feels like a wasted opportunity.
The 600i was done relatively early for Origin as a brand. We'd had the 300, and it was the first really big Origin ship that we decided to do. Since then, we've obviously tackled much larger Origin ships with the 890, and throughout the course of the 890, the Origin style completely evolved from what it was, which you had some very technical and wooden surfaces, to instead have this lovely transition that goes between them, which can be seen across the 890. the clear but smooth divide between the different sections of the ship.
In terms of reworking the 600i, we had a sort of very clear brief. We want to bring it up to modern day standards. So there's a lot of features that didn't exist in the game there or weren't accounted for at the time, to integrate those into the ship now, and then to also make better use of the space, because anyone that's been on board a 600i knows there's a lot of walking and going up and down to get to where you want to, and it doesn't really need to be like that.
Currently the 600i is concept complete. There's a couple of rooms which haven't had full concept work done on them, such as the crew quarters, but for the most part, every room has had a complete and utter rework.
The big change for the module section is its placement. So rather than being the sort of central core of the ship that you had to go through to get to the back half of the ship, it is now in the rear section of the ship, which allowed us to move the common shared areas to the central section. We did that change because it just makes the flow of the interior better. When you have a 600i, regardless of which module you have, you know the front half of the ship is a consistent experience, and then the gameplay alterations with that module is constrained to a very specific area at the back.
So the best way to think of the 600i layout is between three parts. You have the very front of the ship, which is the bridge and the captain's quarters. For the most part, they've remained mostly the same. There's been a few tweaks to the layout of the chairs on the bridge, but generally that hasn't changed very much. The captain's quarters is almost the same as it was before, except it's flipped round. The bathroom moved from one side to the other. The reason for that is directly behind that, the lobby area. On the top deck, we now have a small docking collar with space for a few suits, and the opposite side of that is now a lift to take you between two floors into the rear, the exterior of the ship. Directly behind that, which used to be the modular section, we now have on the top deck the crew habitation area. So it starts off with a large open shared communal space where there's places to eat, make food, and then to the side of that there's 4 private crew bedrooms. The floor beneath that now is where engineering and all the components that allow the ship to function have been moved to. Think very similar to what we've done on the 400i, where you have the separate engineering section beneath. Directly behind that, we then have the ship modular section. We'll start with the expedition version. So on the top deck, at the very, very top, we have the armory. There's a huge armory with plenty of extra suit lockers for you and your friends to take extra equipment depending on what you might encounter. Behind that, we then have the hologlow that'll allow you to do the exploration. On the middle deck, we then have the medical bay, which will have a medical suite similar to that as the Carrack. It'll have a tier 2 med bed. Beside that, we then have the secondary cargo hold. So this cargo hold, it's more readily accessible for the crew. So it's more for your day-to-day supply. So if you want to have a box full of your food or your snacks, that's where you put it instead of down in your main cargo hold, because you don't want to go rooting through your garage just to find that random pen that you've left. On the bottom deck of the expedition version, we then have the main cargo hold and garage. So obviously, as you've seen from the pictures from the recent Inside Star Citizen, it is much, much larger than it was before, with a much, much larger lift to fit much larger vehicles in it. In there, there's also 2 small lifts, one to allow you to bring cargo up to the main cargo area, and then there's the smaller one that goes through the 3 decks. Moving on to the touring variant, we get a completely different experience. The touring's primarily split between 2 main decks, though one of the decks is across 2 floors. So the upper deck brings you out into the large lobby area. From the lobby area, you can choose to go up the side staircases to the main meeting area / eating room, as well as a bar. And if you go left and right from there, you can get to the private guest suites. Private guest suites are very large and luxurious. They also come with their own skate pods. The lower deck is a spa. So the spa has a pool, a sauna, bar, as well as a kitchen for the crew to actually be able to make food for the guests.
So whilst we're kind of doing a complete or almost a complete rework of the interior, on the exterior of the ship, we're trying to keep it as true to how it is now as we possibly can. There will be some slight changes. We'll need to move the hangar bay doors a little bit. There'll be some additional kind of cutouts for escape pods, and we need to fit the airlock in properly. So there will be some minor changes, but overall, we're trying to keep it as close to what you see now as a 600 as we can.
So next step is essentially just finding a slot in the production schedule for it.
It's about finding the space where we can start doing the production art and designers can get on board with actually making it come alive again. We're all super excited with the work that we've actually done on it. It's just trying to actually get the schedule to align so that we can begin the work on it. It's not going to start today or tomorrow, but it is something we're looking to try and include as soon as we can.
I think people should be excited for this rework just because of the significant improvements that the ship gets from this. Not only is a much better interior layout for it, even without the modules, the rest of the ship has just got a good improvement. Components are also updated, and it has extra features such as the med bay, which will just improve the gameplay role of the ship.
So yeah, that's an update on the 600i. It's been a bit of a curvy road to get to where we are now, and there's still some work ahead of us before we can really deliver it to the players in the format that we want. But I hope everyone's as excited as we are about kind of finally delivering the original vision of what we want the 600 to be. And I hope everyone has a great IAE.
So what did we learn this week? Well, we learned that Drake is making their way into the starter ship game with the addition of a cutter. That it's available to everyone starting tomorrow at this year's IAE event. That Drake itself knows what some folks think about them, but is going to keep on keeping on because they're actually sort of the best. And that it will take a while yet before the 600i rework comes to fruition, but the path forward will be one that's well worth the wait and finally allows this fan favorite to realize its fullest potential in the persistent universe. Now don't forget that in addition to the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo, there's the annual free fly that goes along with it, and your chance to try out nearly every ship and vehicle that Star Citizen has to offer. Be sure you check out the robertspaceindustries.com website for the full details, and then come back tomorrow for a fun twist on our annual IAE ship roundtable for Star Citizen Live. We actually have a roundtable now, or at least a six-sided triangle, or a triangle-shaped hexagon. You can be the judge. For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. We'll see you all here next week.
The IAE is available today to rent, to enjoy, to fight, to claim your rewards. And we're going to go into the game. So give me a second to set this up. So it's just loading. Well, see, I haven't done this in a while on OBS. It is very tricky sometimes. All right. So, comment below. Let me know what you all think about Star Citizen and what other upcoming ships you like. So we're going to be flying from Lorville all the way to microtech. But on that, I got to change some settings to make sure everything is well. Gonna have to change this to 1080p. Yeah, the stream will act weird if I keep it at very high. There you go, 1080p settings. Yeah. Alright, I got it working. That was a major pain in the something. So let's do this. Let's do it step by step so then people realize or how to do this. I'm going to, yeah, record. Let's see. Get this. Let's get this ready. I'm running a an older chip, the 3950X. And I'm also running a 6800 XT in GPU. So CPU 3950X, GPU I'll write down the specs. Basically, it's okay. Not the best, but it's okay. Sometimes in gaming and streaming, the system doesn't run very well. But, that's what you get, I guess. And not just this game, other games as well I play. So it can be challenging at times. I remember Benny's Henge. I just love this game so much. It's like crazy good. And there is some issues with the game, like I don't like that it's taking forever to come out with the brand new Merchantman and the Polaris, and the Pioneer, and all those other bigger ships. But I kind of understand why they... I don't... Oh shit, what happened? Okay. Alright, you can make it! You can make it! Whoop! You made it. Am I naked? No. Okay. Hello, Bob. I call you Bob. What's up, Bob? Actually, your eyes look weird. Bob. Probably do have the same suit, too. That's actually my favorite suit right there. I hope they make a more thinner version of this. A smaller version. Yeah, thinner version. So then you can wear it when you're on your ship. Because in the future, they're going to take that away. They're going to make it where you have to wear a spacesuit. I think that's... Did that even change anything? Sometimes I don't even know if the audio thing works. They should have a system like an apply button to apply. Let's do this. It's actually running pretty smooth. And I'm sure the server's overloaded. So we're gonna pick the most basic ship, and then we're gonna rent a couple of ships as well. So basically I'm at Hurston. And then I've got to fly to microTech. That's where they have the IAE, the Drake Interplanetary ships. You know, the Expo.
Welcome to the ASOP Vehicle Retrieval System.
Alright, what ships do I have that can fly us there in no time? Oh, I already... Why do I have this ship already available? What's going on here? I don't own those ships. It might be because of the concierge, maybe. I don't know. Unknown. Of course it's unknown. Alright, let's see. Destroyed. Oh yeah, I had a mishap. It destroyed. You know, I'm gonna show you these ships at the expo. And then we'll fly them afterwards. Oh, let's see what ship can be flying there quick. I think this would be fine. The Harbinger. This menu used to freeze all the time. I remember back in the day when the technology wasn't there and I was running very terribly. Oh my goodness. And it was so slow. Nowadays it's so much easier and still people complain. Oh my god. The audacity of people nowadays. What's up, Bob? Let's do this. Are you gonna join me, Bob? Bob? Okay. Bob's not joining me. Alright, Hangar 9. Consider subscribing to the channel, everyone. It is 100% free for you all. And like the video. So then YouTube algorithm doesn't can me. Doesn't screw me up. This ship, I like this ship, but I know that these ships need a rework. I'm just gonna be honest with you. They need a rework. They need a rework. They're reworking everything else. Why not give me a rework for this ship too? Why not? The reason why they need a rework for this ship is because they need a button for this hangar. You know, I mean the thing going up. Now I do like these ships though. Like in the future, when Star Citizen and Squadron 42 comes out, I hope they allow you to fly this type of ship. This is the Harbinger. It shoots a size 5-ish missile or a torpedo. Now the reason why they need a rework is because they need to update the technology, dude. This is like keyboard and little switches, like ancient. Like, yeah. They're supposed to be modular, I think. Maybe not. Maybe they took away the modularity. But this ship worked really well, you know? Made really well. You know, back in the times. So I hope everyone is doing well out there, though. And, having a good day. It is the IAE. The news about the Banu Merchantman must hurt, but, you know, I have a feeling it'll come out before the end of next year. I've got a really big feeling. I might be wrong, but I've got a feeling. I haven't flown a ship in a very long time, so I don't know what's gonna happen. Oh, no. What is that? Doesn't it look so pretty? Oh my goodness. It's so pretty. Super beautiful. Now, obviously, if you lose the wings, you're kind of like ASOL'd, but you know, it's a good-looking ship. If they rework this ship, oh my goodness, the beauty of it. What they need to do is they need to hire another team, like a whole another team, like 2 more teams for ship making, and what they need to do is they need to finish with those new teams. They only finish the old concept ships, the ships that haven't been made yet, that are not in the engine yet. All they got to do is hire maybe 12 people. That's it. They can do it with 12 people. So, and they only work on the concept ships that haven't been made since the concept of Star Citizen. So, for example, the Banu Merchantman, the Polaris, the you know, like all the other big ships, like the Pioneer, the Perseus. They just gotta hire at least 1 or 2 more teams, and those teams will only work on ships that are concept ships only, and that's it. That's all they're made to do. You know, all they're hired to do. And then that team could be eaten up and put into the team that's doing stuff now. So just do that, CIG. Come on. We only need 12, no, maybe 6 to 12 people. I don't know how it works. But they need to think about this. They do. They do. Alright, let's get this ball rolling. Alright, I haven't done this in a while, so... oh yeah, F2. Yes. Yes, now this ship should take us there. Yeah, it's nothing. It's nothing compared to how much fuel we have, right? Almost 3 trips. So let's do this. And then F2 again. So F2 is for your map, right? I remember when Quantum didn't even work at all. Like, at all. B? Okay, so it's still B. Who in the world made the mapping for the keyboard? What happened? Okay. Weird. What happened? Oh. Some douche is attacking me. Or trying to. So when the server works, the server works. Sometimes that doesn't work at all, by the way. The interdiction thing, But the game is amazing. Once server meshing is in though, like the tier 1 or tier V version 1 or whatever, I think the game will improve for everybody to be able to play. And that 4 million people that have, backed Star Citizen will automatically, be double that, 8 million. Star Citizen and Squadron 42 don't need to make, a push that hard because games right now are being forced to be pushed out. So Star Citizen and Squadron 42 will have the biggest edge ever because it's backed by the backers. They'll probably win like 20 Emmys or game Emmys and all that other stuff. Now I am optimistic about Star Citizen and Squadron 42 because, I'm tired of being badgered by game studios, game companies rushing games out way too quickly, not finishing it, or lying about the concept that they're making. Star Citizen is very open-minded and everything, and open development. Far more open than any other company I've ever seen. And there is a downside to this, but at the same time, I think it far outweighs the balance of good and evil. Good is Chris Roberts. He's the God Roberts. He's basically making a golden age standard of gaming. And I'm 37 years old, so I've been around for a bit. So I've seen the good and the bad of every game company. EA, Bethesda, Microsoft. Well, now Microsoft kind of screwed up with Halo. Halo is decent for what it is, and it did push some of the tech a little bit. But I feel like what they've done so far with the Halo franchise, they totally porked it. They destroyed it. It's not even... Because before, I'll give you an example. Before, they would come out with a game that's pretty much almost fully polished, like really polished, like 99.9% polished, and then they would come out with expansions or special DLCs. But nowadays it's like they give you half of the game and then they say there's a DLC coming, but technically that DLC just finishes the other half of the game, and they don't really give you a DLC. They just force you to pay an extra amount of money, and you're really paying for the game to be fixed, even though it should have been, fixed at the beginning of release. So that's what's going on, like Cyberpunk, for example. So here we go, microTech, a beautiful icy world. Very cold, by the way, very cold. I'm trying to remember a New Babbage, yes. New Babbage. See, right now there's a clock, a timer when the cooldown. And then we got this to go. Now, I know that there's a new UI and all that other junky junk. This is the old quantum boost. Like the micro quantum boost. I actually don't like flying in the dark side of the planet or the moon because it can be a little bit disorienting, but apparently we're going into the dark side of the planet. So I hope everyone is doing really well out there and having fun. It's the IAE, where you can rent all the ships that are in the game. I'm trying to remember where there should be lighting somewhere. No, that's not gonna be it. No. Data center. Maybe one of these. No. No. Jesus. I don't remember. Can be kind of confusing. Well, we gotta do it. Oh, there it is. There's the port. To be honest with you, they should put more lighting on the port. No, I like the animation of the thrusts. Oh, so pretty. Looks like a rainbow. Rainbow of fire. Now we could land here and then take the train. But welcome to the UE 2022 Expo, which, you know, our reality 2022. But it's the 25, yeah, the 52nd, 2952. 2952, that's right. Yep. So here we go. Something go wrong? Apparently something did go wrong. Oh no, it's alright. Trying to remember. We could always just go there, right? We'll just go there. We'll just land. Why not? So there's wheels on this one, by the way. So it's kind of funny. But yeah. I see a ship. Ship is that anyway? Oh, it's a crosshair. It looks tiny from far away. Very tiny. Alright, let's do this the right way. Let's do this right.
Proceed to assigned landing bay.
I think that's the one. They always give you the small hangars. Jesus. I've got a feeling they're gonna rework this this area. I'll make it far more easier for people. I have a feeling. But it's not that hard. Graphical glitch of some sort. Arrow view. Well then, perfect landing. Press double Y, I think that still works. Yep, double Y. There you go, everyone.
Landing complete. Have a pleasant stay.
So you go to New Babbage. There's medical, just in case if you get hurt. That's pretty loud. So, write down in the comments below what ships you're looking forward to or what ships you have. What are you looking forward to for 2023, next year? Like, let me know down below. I really want to know, seriously. And, thank you for joining the channel and, watching, and hopefully you'll, consider subscribing to the channel. So then we can build and grow this YouTube channel together. See, this is where you get food. I think I'm tapped. I'm fine. Oh, hello, sir. Hello. Hello. Oh, no, guess not. Alright, we're gonna go down here, see the IAE 2952. Let's do this. Such a beautiful location, yeah? Yeah, so consider subscribing to the channel, liking the video, and also click the notification bell so you can be notified whenever we post new content. And, yeah. Do this! Let's do it! Alright, I guess yeah, that would be it. Also, what features would you like to see in Star Citizen? Comment below on that as well. I'm thinking about doing Twitch as well. But I'm not sure which one it is here. Oh darn, missed it. All right, we'll just wait for the next one. Is there? Oh shoot! What? That was quick.
Careful, doors are now closing.
What I like to do normally is crouch, so then no glitches happen. Such a fast train. Ultra fast. Wow.
Nearing next stop. Mission momentarily. The capsule will be leaving the station.
Set aside time to stretch your physical being and your mind. Expand.
Well, here we go. IAE. Let's do this. Today is Drake. I'm going to show you the schedule for the entire month as well. And you could come here. See, that's the new ship, the Cutter. The Cutter. You got these clothes that you could purchase. I think you can still purchase them, yeah. Yeah, you can still purchase them. But I think I already own these. Unless they delete them from your account, I have no idea. Now I remember a few IAEs ago, they had like a play and it would read you everything. Not anymore. Oh, server's running smooth. Normally I get some kind of lag. Wow. I'll get all those credits back. No worries. I wish they would have a jacket similar to that color. Let's see. Anvil. You've got Argo. You got RS. No. No. RSI. I'll buy another. I like RSI ships, by the way. Big time. Just the aesthetics. The Connie, not so much. But the other ones, sure. Why not get this one too? Watch me have like 8 of these, 9 of these in the future. Now what they need to do is sell these in the store. And then you can buy them in real life. That's what they need. I'm actually quite serious. They do need to do that. Actually, I like Outland as well. One of my favorite companies. Because of the Pioneer, the base builder. I still gotta buy me that ship. Yeah. Drake is okay, but I would say let's see, how would I say this? I like the inside of every Drake ship. I just don't like the outside of every Drake ship, except for the Kraken, and that's the only ship that I really like aesthetically, and industrial look, like true industrial look. So these are the events for all the ships and vehicles. So RSI is on the 26th, you got Argo on the 23rd and 24th, you got MISC. Now when you rent a ship or a vehicle, it lasts in your account and you can use it and play with it until I think 24 to 48 hours, and then it's bye-bye, ta-ta. But then I think there might be a last day of some sort that all the items are going to be available. Maybe, I don't know. They did it 1 year, maybe. I can't remember, but I'll look into that and see. But here's the schedule. I also have the schedule on the thumbnail, and I will keep the schedule on a different thumbnail, so then everyone knows when these events are going live. So let's go to the Apex Hall. But thank you for joining the channel to watch, and I hope that you enjoy this video. Also, consider subscribing and liking the video. It'd be very much appreciated, and it helps very much and pushes the algorithm. So let's do this. I'd rather walk from up here because I don't know the steps. I might clip my foot and break it. All right, here we go. And I'm only... I do like the caterpillar. There's one ship I do like, but it doesn't fly as well as I was hoping for it to fly. Let's try to lower the volume just a tad bit. That didn't work. Maybe it's under this. No. Oh, well, anyway. Alright, the caterpillar. Let's actually look inside. Actually, let's look inside the crosshair. Because I know everybody wants to look inside. It's supposed to be an exploration ship. Supposed to be. It is a brand new ship that just came out. You could play with it. The exploration part of the game is not in fully yet. Not like 100% in. But it is capable of doing a lot of damage to incoming enemies. So there's that, and then it does have a decent cargo capacity, I must say. That looks so unique to this ship, actually. What part is that? The wing? Oh, it's a rocket piece. Wow. Okay. This ship is actually pretty big inside. Spacey. So that's the power plant. I kind of don't like all the components being in the back like this, because what if somebody, you know, comes in and blows out your all the components? Like, you know, the cooler even from the inside. So you gotta protect this ship with your soul, man. You gotta protect it well. Shield generator. I don't even know what kind of size this is. I'm sure these things will work eventually. Even this box might even open and you have to fix something. Who knows? Who knows? All right, there you go. Now. Support. Alright, so the other main components are here. Wow. This room, this tiny room is amazing. You know why? The gun rack. I did not know this had a gun rack in it. Huh. Not bad. I might want to buy this ship. We'll see. You know. Help us out in the channel and, you know, make us get like, I don't know, 10, 20 subscribers. You know, might even give away a ship or two. 100 subscribers, there you go. 100 subscribers in the next 3 months. And we'll give away a ship to the community. Well then, the cutter. We'll give away the cutter. There you go. I'm gonna get a cutter today so I could give it away. Jesus. Pretty. Let's do a seating. I'm also looking forward to the Galaxy, which is a new RSI ship as well. So, yeah, it's pretty. Are those variants, or are them the same? Are they the same? So you get your own captain's baby quarters, and there's a turret there, Jesus Christ, this ship is filled with freaking weapons. Jesus Christ. What is this? Huh. Oh, to the top deck. Okay, okay. This is your crew quarters. There's 3 personal crew quarters. And this is Drake? I'm confused. I'm surprised. Really surprised. What else is in here? You've got Juno Stark work. I freaking love this small room. Jesus. That's kind of weird though, because there's only 2... Oh, 4. Wow, okay. So they thought of everything. I wonder if this ship will have the updated... It's so detailed, like the inside is so detailed. The only thing I don't like about Drake is that they have weak shielding, or weak armor. But when armor is in the game, right now it's not in the game, I can tell you that much. Right now, armor is kind of faked. I don't know why this... Jesus. It's so big, that suit. Alright, let's look upstairs, actually. You guys want to look upstairs? Let's do it. I think it works. And they're doing it the old way. Oh, that's going down. I made a mistake. Alright. I don't know why that did that. Oh, that's to rent? I don't need a rent. I already have you. Let's do this. I freaking love that. So then no mistakes could ever be had when you're pressing a button. Oh my goodness. Roof access. Huh. So if something goes wrong, you can repair from the outside. Wow. Pretty. What size is this? What size gun is that? Is that a 4 or a 5? Jesus. So much detail. So much detail. Does that close off? Apparently not. Well, there you got it. The crosshair. A exploration / killing ship. That is a different ship or no? They look the same. Oh, you got components over there on that side. All these components. Not that expensive. Huh. Yeah, in this game you do have the capability of upgrading ships within inside the ships. So it's this... Wow, what a small bug. Alright, well... Apparently this crosshair does not want people on it. Yep. Alright, it's the same ship. There's no variance, it's all the same. Now those missiles on the wing, oh boy. If that wing gets blown, all those missiles are gone. So only one ship allows you to go on it. Hello, people. Yeah, you're right. You're wearing the right clothing. I would be laughing if you were wearing 2951. That's what I would be doing. I'd be laughing. Now you got weapons here for ships as well. You got the Omni Skies. Those used to be really, really, really good. I don't know if they're still good though. Ugh. Even weapons look like freaking advanced, detailed looking, crazy nut. Unbelievable weapons, dude. Unbelievable. So we're going to go downstairs and we're going to look at some of the hollow ships. And probably some of the vehicles. I believe there's ground vehicles here. Now I know Best in Show will show the new, maybe new armors, physical armors. So what does this specifically do? Is this the cargo variant, the mule pack? Yeah, cargo. I'm actually surprised this came in the game. I'm really surprised. But imagine having like 30 of these or 40 of these, you know, just pack stuff up and carry it on missions. Can't wait until there's more star systems in the game. More than 2. I want at least, I think they can do it. I believe they can. I'm gonna rent this. I like this thing, but I also want the Nox. So there is that. I want the Nox. Alright, let's see. I am here. We will look at the cutter soon. Don't worry about that. We will look at it very soon. So there ye blows. The ship that I want. That costs 1,000. I forgot how to zoom out. Jesus. So it's gonna have a modularity to it. There's 2 different kinds. There's the I like the ship, but there is something to be had that they gotta make a ship similar to this, but maybe a little smaller. Just like half the size of this would be nice. I don't know. This does cost 1,600 bucks, so but keyword outside of game if you want it instantaneously. Now I do have the Orion, which is another ship that I wish the game would have the Orion out already. So I could do proper mining. The back of the ship, oh my god. Jeez. Trying to press F4 for that ship is gonna be a total nightmare. If that ship comes out before my Polaris, I'm gonna be super... Yeah, super... Keyword. Infumed. I've been waiting since 2014. That's the elevator, and that's the other hulls. So look at this one more time. We will look at the caterpillar when we leave. This looks like interesting. People not sitting down either. So tell me what you all think down below in the comments. Yeah, write it down. Write your opinions, your feelings of Star Citizen down in the comment below. I will even write back to you. We are here enjoying the IAE 2952. So these are the cutlasses. I like the inside, but I hate the outside. Just gonna be blunt. I like the inside, but I hate the outside with a passion. 8. It's just, it's too it looks too flimsy. This is the medical variant. A friend of mine has this ship, actually. It's a decent ship, I'm not gonna lie, but the outside looks terrible. Now, I wish they would change this core area, because I think they're all the same. I think they're all the same. This is the cargo variant. Yeah, this is the cargo variant. Now, what would be nice, you know, is if they had a screen up here. How did he jump like that? Okay, interesting. If they had a screen up here or on the side here, and then telling you your cargo units and what's maxed, what's not maxed out. Now, I know the inside of this looks the same as the other one. Yeah. It's unique, though. Now, from the outside, you wouldn't know if this ship can carry this many people. Or much cargo. Is there... what other version is there? The steel, which I think is the gun variant. You know, just a bunch of guns. There's been a lot of controversy for this ship, though. I can tell you that much. Very controversial, this ship. Yeah. It's the drop pod version, but it has a bunch of guns. I'd say this ship is warranted. They needed it, but... there is a but. I just don't know how to explain the but. Turret. Now what they need to do is do a exploration variant. It's big enough to do an exploration variant. Definitely. They've got a police variant, they've got a rescue variant, they've got a base variant, they've got a gun variant, and they got the police variant. So they need to have one more variant. And that would be exploratory one. Or instead of an exploration version, they should have a scanning version. You know, that makes it where it's a lot easier and cheaper to make in, you know, outside and in game. Because that would be a lot easier. So instead of having that gun up top, no, the gun could be up top. Maybe have one door. No, maybe that might not work out. Oh, they could easily do this. They can take out the bottom here, remove the bottom and add a dish underneath, or do the same thing for the top and add a dish up top, and it could be a scanning variant, exploration variant, for example. And I think the apex this way. You know what they need to add? They need to add a tiny rover or skates. You know, skate. It's easy to make, I'm sure. Skates, where you can skate to the next area. You know, like not skateboard, but I mean like skates, like shoe skates. You know, and you can skate there. You know, throughout this whole entire event instead of using big vehicles. I don't know. I like that ship a lot. So he is the cutter. AKA, you're cutting yourself. I think there's variants. So let's look at these. And then obviously the Herald, which I actually do like the Herald. I may even get one in game, or maybe 2 or 3 of them, because they are info runners. So yeah, data mining, info runner. Also, I think they have some kind of missile encryption thingy. I don't know if that still exists in the game, but e-warfare kind of thing. This, I like this ship as well. It's very very basic, but on the inside it looks great. So let's look at the cutter. And then we'll look inside there. This is the cargo variant. Yeah, it's the cargo variant. This is a starter ship. Right now you can purchase it online on the store. It's 40 bucks. Fairly cheap compared to all the other starter packages. You get your own personal bed. I could see that this could have been a second bed, but your own personal bed. You get, I'm not sure what this is for. Probably nothing. Then you get your own bath and toiletry stuff. You could even open this. And that's a shower. Very interesting looking shower, but still a shower. It closes and opens, and also you can lock, hopefully no glitching, but you can lock yourself or close yourself in. See, you could even lock. So no one can open this door other than you, obviously. There you go. Now, this is a very good starter ship. Super good one. So there you go. We'll fly this in-game to test it out a little bit. We'll even do a bunker mission. I like the canopy. It's very sleek. And I actually like the extra glass that you get, like there and there, for extra space to look. And look, there's even one up there. Makes it more interesting. You get a gun rack, some inventory stuff, maybe ammunition up there, components. I'm not sure. This is like, I guess, shelving, and I'm not sure what this is. Manual override to do something. Now, in my mind, it looks like this is an extra door. In my mind. But it's not, obviously. It could have been. There might have been a variant that has 2 doors, but no. No, so you get an overlamp, which is unique to this ship. Okay. There you go. Headlamp, so you can read and all that stuff, and then you got also storage here. This I like. I want them to add that mechanic in every game, or every ship, where it's a lever, it's like that, you know, it's a door, it opens up like a creek, and you put all your inventory in there. I like that. Makes it basic, simple, but also easy and smooth. This is the same thing, I think. Not sure. I thought they had a medical version. Maybe I was wrong. Weird. Guess not. Now let's look at the Vulture. I'm surprised I remember names. Not always that great with the names. This is a salvaging base ship. This would be a great ship to have as well, because then you could salvage wrecks. And the trick about this is, when the game comes out, right, there's gonna be wrecks everywhere. Everywhere. The game is gonna be huge. You're gonna have multiple star systems, and you're gonna want a ship like this, because this will make you the credits. This is industrial beauty. a marvel of golden money. The gold. That's why it looks so golden. Has some cargo space. It also does all the working all over here. So after you salvage with the lasers over there, it drops boxes, you know, and then you can put them here, here, yeah, all here, you know, here, here. Now, a friend of mine has the reclaimer, which is even 10,000 times bigger than this, and salvaging is, oh, there's a graphical glitch. Not sure what this is about, but okay. So I don't like stairs to be on, or ladders in this game, because I'm afraid it might code out or something, but hey. We've got this. Components. We've got a little box area that looks rusted with a lot of blood. You've got gun rack. Now, I'm going to be honest. I think that they should have put this on this side and that there, so then it's easier. You could even close this off. You got your own kitchenette kind of thing. Or no, it's not a kitchenette. Is it? What is this? Oh. Not sure. I'll have to look it up. Not sure. Components, close. Open. You got your own bed. With, I think, no. Oh, you got a headlight. That's for sure. You got your own toiletry stuff. Hey, what's up? What's up, Doc? You got your own medical gun. Good idea. Salvaging tool. I've actually never seen that suit, I think. Was that a new suit? I don't know. It's not a very good look. Alright, you got a computer here. Do all the busy work, scanning. Yeah, you have to have a scanner on a salvaging ship, obviously. Now let's look at the cockpit. I do like this, the rolling thing of the chair. I don't like the ones that move like a bunch. You know, I like just the circular thing because then it's much easier and smooth just to get into the ship or just to get onto the chair. So I like the canopy. Oh man, I love the canopy. Look at that. Oh, huge canopy. Now obviously, you know, if something hits you, maybe you might not want to have this kind of canopy, but I'm sure it's strong. This is where all the work goes. So there you go. Then there's also another exit right there. Boom. Simple and easy. Gotta do it right. Now, hopefully when the Vulking API comes in, the detail on the ground will look even better. I'm hoping to get a new computer so I could do streaming on 2 PCs and make it into a full-time job. You know, I wouldn't mind. Have a little bit of fun, get to know people. Alright, so I don't know how this works, because apparently it just wants you to rent. So we have a little issue here. There's only one way in. I'll just rent this thing. Why not? I'll rent it and see the inside for you all. Alright, next up, the Caterpillar. I'll show you guys and gals the Caterpillar. We showed off the cutter. We'll even rent one, unless I rented one already. No, I didn't. Okay. Dude, I'm becoming poor. I'm just joking. Not a big deal. No, I wish they would have, like they did the last couple of UEs, where they had it communicate to you. I can't believe they took that away. That's kind of disappointing, CIG. a little bit disappointing. Or you could even have it here where it plays for you, like a conversation on what the ship is, or the history of the ship, or you know, that kind of thing. Like, why don't we have that in game? Like, I thought that was in game already. Why take away a feature? You know, obviously it'll cost a little bit of money in development time, but or voiceover time. Look at that. Pretty soon we'll have this, you know, going all the time. Anyway. Let's see that ship. That ship. Now let's look at this ship. Now I like the inside of this ship the most. Like this right here. Oof. I'll probably buy one in game, but I'll probably rarely use it anyway. I'm trying to think on how to get in. I don't like the flying of this ship. Now I heard or read that this ship is modular. This is a true modular ship to its core. Alright, well, there must be a way in. Must be a way in. You don't want to get your head smashed. Now, I have a feeling, and I'm probably saying this to be funny, but this ship will probably get a rework of some sort eventually. It doesn't need it, because clearly there's gun racks in it, habitation area. It looks like an alien vibes, which I like very much. What's this? Yep. You got your food, I think. That might even be a burner. Yeah, that's a burner. Storage. Hopefully this storage is real in the future. It even says how many CUs. Wow. Cargo to the gills, I can tell you that much. This ship has cargo to the gills. Now each cargo spot or each cargo thing is going to be modular eventually, where you can switch it out to be a medical variant, or not a variant but modularity stuff. Probably exploratory version, or you know, hydroponics, which would be a thing in Star Citizen for sure, and a bunch of other modules. Science version. This is the upper part. I'm surprised they have the habitation down there, and they should have it in the main cabin, but apparently not. This is the main. Oh shoot. So two people here. Probably engineering, right? No. Wow. I forgot about this room. Huh. This will work eventually. Wow, I actually did not expect this. This is nothing right now. Okay. A sink even. Wow. Burners. Huh. Very well. Even your own bathroom. So the Caterpillar is... Oh wow, another rack. Jesus. This ship is going to be very valuable once the game is fully out. Jeez. I didn't even remember about any of that stuff. I think there's some kind of stellar cartography? Maybe? Oh, tractor beam? There is a tractor beam on the on this ship. Yeah, I'm not clicking on anything, bruh. Was that a tractor beam that I saw? The word's tractor beam, right? Well, any case. Yep, tractor beam. Wow. Huh. I forgot. Well, let's get off the ship. Very interesting. Getting off the ship is another matter. So there you go, the IAE. All in a nutshell. So I'll be on tomorrow as well, for you all to know. Thank you very much for watching as well. Consider subscribing, and it's 100% free for everyone to subscribe, and also like the video and comment below. Let me know what ships you're looking into or want to get, and what are you looking forward to for 2023 next year? CitizenCon and onwards. It is cool that you can see a commercial within the game. That is so cool. So cool. That is the steel, the cutlass. Yep, steel. Alright, now we're gonna test out the ships a little bit and do a mission. If you'd like to join us, continue watching. So this is the event stuff that's gonna be going on throughout the month. So please stay tuned for more content. I'll be posting again on the 20th. Yeah, I'll be posting again on the 20th. And then on the 22nd, and so on and so forth. Oh no, I will be posting on the 20th. That's right. Yeah, 20th. So you've got 2 events going on, I think. Yeah, so there are 2 different halls. This the Apex and the... Oh, there is another, right? Tomorrow. So I will be on tomorrow. Alright, so Origin Jump Works. Now, with Origin ships, there is a rework going on with the 600i. Now, I don't know when that's going to be available, but it will be available eventually. Then you've got... Wow, now it's clear. Earlier it was not so clear. So much clearer. I may even just use this this in-game thing for my thumbnail. Why not? Actually, nah. Alright, let's do this. Make sure you get your IAE shirts and hats. And get suitable pants as well. Or no pants. Up to you. Up to you. So we're going to test out both the crosshair and the cutter right now. Fly it. Where is our... Alright, we're there. New Babbage. Make sure you go to New Babbage to the IAE 2952 and acquire by renting your ships today and testing them all out and seeing what suits you the best. Was there a person in here? We put all their nightgowns in here, or their medical stuff. Yeah.
Nearing next stop.
This would be the habitation area. So we still got to stay on here to go to the next location. I think this is the Habs, right? Yeah, the Habs. Now, eventually you're going to have your own apartment. You could purchase in game in the future, and you could just stay on the apartment, or you could stay in on a settlement that you build yourself with the Pioneer or any other smaller ship that they're going to come out with. The Pioneer, I believe, is fairly big, like really big, and that's where you could build settlements with that specific ship. Now it's daytime, yo. Wow, and you know that is a sun that you can actually go to, right? Wow. There you go, everybody. Look at that. That's the station above us. The game is very huge. It's one star system with a bunch of planets and moons. The game is not small by any means. And once server meshing is in, they'll be popping out a server meshing with probably one new star system to do testing for like a few months and fixing some things, and then probably after that we'll probably see a star system every 3 months or something like that. Maybe more than that. So we're gonna go up top. Gotta make sure I wear all the correct stuff. Alright. For today, the server is doing decent. I want 318 to come out so badly. So badly. 318! .318 hype. After you go through all the landing areas, you'll get to know how to get out of them and go back into them. The locations. Sometimes I don't even remember some of the locations, but I just do it by doing instead of thinking. Let's see if we can get these ships on into this area instead of me. Oh, you can claim because it goes to your home location. So 13 minutes expedite. All right, go. Then we'll try out the cutter. That's the rent time, by the way. Whenever you rent a ship, you get... Wow, that's a lot of time. Holy smokes. Wow. Tomorrow I'll test this out and see if this is the same number or similar number, but it's a lot of time. Oh, I've got Drake Cutter here. I don't know why I have two of them on me then. Herald. Or Vandal Scythe. I'm not sure why I have the Vandal Scythe. Not really sure. Now I know the Hammerhead I get because of the Polaris. And then this ship I get because I will look at this ship too. On Anvil Day. And I would like to actually look at the Hornet again and see how well it flies again. But we'll see. Hold on. The ship's available in 3 minutes. The ship is already gonna be ready. Might as well keep it here. No. Yes.
Please visit us again.
No. We'll wait 3 minutes for the crosshair. In the meantime... Oh, I didn't even... Did I even click on that? It's fine. So you get plushies here as well. You could buy them, put them on your ship in the meantime, or even at your apartment. Some water and food. So, only thing I don't like about this is because you got to put your head off. Oh yeah, because I don't have any of my items on me because I'm localized grid. So, at least I got those 2 items on me right now: the gun and that. So press I is for your inventory. You can purchase one of these. I know.
Remember, your belongings belong to you. Keep a careful watch on all
There you go, you drink it all. What I want them to add is a bladder pack. So a bladder backpack. So you have the liquid inside the bladder backpack and you just drink through a straw, a long straw from her back. That's what I want them to add so badly. Because I don't like bottles. It's so freaking annoying. You gotta rebuy a bottle. And there's no refilling yet in the game. So there is that. So this is done. Spect. I don't know why I can't get rid of it. Why can't I?
microtech, the Empire's leader in cutting-edge technology, where creative innovation meets innovative creativity.
I don't know why that's not working. Oh well. Oh, that's not working. Can you help me here and take this cup? Alright. Now I'll sound like water all day. Not good, not good, very good. Press I.
From all of us at microtech, welcome to the new Babbage Interstellar Space.
No, that's not. I will leave this stuff here and do a test and see if the stuff still stays afterwards.
microtech, the Empire's leader in cutting-edge technology.
Leader edge cutting technology. I like the original artwork for microtech. The ones that look like it's all watered, and then I like the original concept of microtech. This version is okay, but I think the other version was far better. I think there was another version. I'm not sure. Am I right about that? Don't know. Now they need to add a medical bed or something. But I'm sure they're gonna have it where you can have a medical bed, like in your cargo hold, you know, in the future. So this bottle is gonna stay with me, and it just says inspect. So there's a glitch. What am I at? 7. Okay. 7. We're gonna test out the crosshair, and then we'll test out the cutter. Meantime, I would be grateful if you all supported the channel by just subscribing and liking the video and comment below. It's 100% free. Help out the channel. Help this channel out. Close. Can you even lock this? Guess in the future you could. So in the future you can. Interesting. This ship is unique, and I do like it. And I've got to check how much it costs in game. Or not in game, but yeah, in game. For a ship like this. We're gonna probably accept a mission. So apparently this bottle is gonna stay here. Apparently. Plate ready. I haven't flown a ship like this in a while either, so let's see how this works. This is far bigger ship than I thought it would be. I don't like the outside at all, though. It looks horrific. Not my taste. Yep. The engines look better than the actual rest of the ship itself. Fly's different. I can feel it too. Wow. We're gonna try to do the 890 jump mission. Or...
Thank you, and please visit again.
let's see how well it flies, actually. We'll fly with this ship in space to the space station, and then we'll take the cutter to a bunker mission. Also, comment in the messaging, the texting thing, and let me know what ships you like. What are you looking forward to in the next IEE or Star Citizen? Are you gonna go to the physical event next year, if there is one? I would like to know your likes. Star Citizen. What do you don't like? Any questions? Just comment below or do the in the messaging area, and I'll listen and reply as well. Let's see if I can. Yep, I can quantum jump. Oh, Tesla. Smooth and easy. Let's see. Such a pretty ship. Look how beautiful this is. Yeah. Very beautiful, yo. All those missiles. They're on this side too? Nope. Makes sense. But that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. Okay. The guns are pretty big. I wonder what those antennas are gonna be for. Is it really gonna be for the exploration part of the game? And there's some weird bottom piece there. Not sure what that's about. I know there's a hose there. Right there on the side. You can refuel. The outside ship looks cute. You know, it's not that bad, but the design to me feels a little off. Tiny bit. But you got 4 weapons in the front. Those 4. Then you've got 2 turrets on the sides. Then you've got another weapon there, another weapon there. Then you got missiles and another weapon there. It's just filled with weapons. I'm gonna be blunt. I think this ship is very worth buying. 100% worth purchasing. But it depends on you and what you're looking forward to in this game. I don't know. I guess the water bug is going on. So, there's that. We're gonna land with the ship, and then we're gonna get the cutter. Then we're gonna do a slight mission, and then I'm going to call it a night. If you guys would like to join me, I'm also gonna be online tomorrow for the next event. I think it's tomorrow. So make sure to stay tuned. I think at 11 in the morning, unless they have some kind of video. 11 in the morning. Oh, I've got to do. Oh, I did do that video. That's right. So he's not dead. McClary is not dead at all. The bosses just didn't, you know, had to replace him because he wasn't there. He missed his work. You know, kind of on him, right? But then at the same time, nobody went to search for him either. So you got that, yeah. Yeah, station's a little bit different than the ground. Station can be a little bit disorienting at times.
Please proceed to assigned landing bay.
Alright. See if I could do this like I used to. Quick and easy. Not sure where that leads. Is that upside down, or what the heck is that? That is upside down. I still got the motions. Still got the capability of doing this the right way. And then I mess up. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm using keyboard and mouse the way PC is meant to be. Yeah, I said it. Oh, I might have done that wrong. Okay. All right, perfect landing.
Have a pleasant stay.
Thank you for watching so far. What a day today. A lot of work. Long videos. Barely any gameplay. Might even fall asleep. We'll just look at the cutter probably. Yep. A very pretty ship. In the inside. Everything counts in the inside. Don't always worry about the outside. It's the inside that matters. Always. Functionality and capability. Then we're at Port Tessa. Tresla. We're gonna go to get the cutter and look at that inside and fly it. Wow, that was instant. Normally it's not that quick. But okay.
To the ASOP vehicle retrieval system.
The Carrack is one of the best exploration ships in game currently today, but I want a competitor. Yes, I want a ship that's better.
Your insurance claim has been sent.
I
Your
want
vehicle
it.
has been moved to our storage facility.
I want it now.
Please visit us again. Goodbye.
What happened?
Welcome to the ASOP Vehicle Retrieval System.
What happened, world? Okay.
Vehicle selected. Stand by.
Now, I remember when this thing used to freeze all the time. Like, all the time. Or it'd come up with an excuse. Like, this thing is taking a little longer than normal, by the way. I'm not sure why it's taking too long. Maybe the server's tanking. What's going on here? It's frozen. So, there we go. The first bug for today. So everyone, thank you for joining. Please consider subscribing to the channel and liking the video. Oh, okay. All right. So it didn't freeze. Nice. Anyway, still do that. Make sure you like, subscribe. Stay tuned for more content. Tomorrow even. This is actually much faster than I thought it would be. Did they speed up the freaking, it feels like they did. I like that there's two, switches to open this thing. So this is the Drake cutter. Oh, you can't do it that way anymore. I forgot about that. Alright. I do like the functionality of that, though. So it's 2 or 4 CUs. So there's that. And then you got your own personal space. Alright. Let's fly this thing. We'll even do a quick flight. Test it out. Don't know where the starting thing is. Deploy. Not sure what that's about. Quantum spool. Ready.
You are clear to launch.
Now this ship flies a little different. It's gonna have like a heavy feel to it. So in the morning I'm gonna test the ship out again and do a few bunker missions. Apparently my internet went to smokes. Don't know why. But there you go. Thank you for watching. Like and share the video and comment below and let me know what you all think about Star Citizen and any other upcoming ships and features that you would like to see in Star Citizen as well. Until next time.